Such hypocrisy and duplicity, Pharisaicalism and politics. I am Renaldo McKenzie, and welcome to another episode of the Neoliberal Round podcast. Such hypocrisy and duplicity, Pharisaicalism and politics. I am Renaldo McKenzie, and welcome to another episode of the Neoliberal Round podcast.
Good evening. We'll start momentarily in a few minutes. It's 7 o'clock here in the US, but I believe it's 6 o'clock there. I had joined the class, started the class a bit earlier than expected, not realizing that
don't have the same time.
Yeah, they had daylight saving time. It was changed recently on Sunday. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir. Seen it.
Great. Today we are going to be dealing with corruption, talking about corruption. We're going to be looking at corruption. But before we get into that, we also want to quickly look at what we discussed last week, and there's some initiatives, some action. You know, when we do learning, they said learning, you're not just amassing or accumulating knowledge or sequencing information or interacting with information, but it's when you're also adjusting. As you learn, you adjust behavior. So, you know, when we look at what learning is, we think about learning it involves some kind of conditioning behavior. And of course, they said human beings learn differently from other animals because we are not like other animals. Animals learn instinctively. Human beings, we learn intelligently. And so we've come up with a definition for learning, speaking to instincts as against intelligence. And that's what differentiates animals, because they said human beings are also animals. But we are all animals, but we are known as what is known. They call human beings the human race in terms of animals. We are of the human race, not in terms of white, black, Indian, Oriental, so on and so forth, in terms of that kind of race. But we are race in terms of we are of what characterizes the human race is that they are thinking beings. And if you studied Darwinism and the evolutionary theory, whether or not you believe in the evolutionary theory, but it is knowledge. It is knowledge that you, as human beings, we don't hide from knowledge and from information, because human beings arrive in the world as we develop our thinking and our understanding and so on and so forth, human beings want to know more about how we have come to be and how we can chart the future. And I think trying to understand how we have come to be is important also for our eschatology, for our psychology, because human beings grapple with the issue of death. Human beings grapple with the issue of their demise. And we talk about human beings have flight and fight responses, and not just human beings, animals. But we talk about what differentiates, is what characterizes the human race, our ability to think. And we talk about Homo erectus and Homo sapiens, and so on and so, moving to an upright man to thinking man, and we talk to we are intelligent beings, as against animals. Animals, they say, that are instinctive. They learn instinctively. Once they are born, there's some genetic coding that predisposes them to information that they need. And based on their organizational development, you see how animals when some people like to compare animals with human beings in terms of child rearing. That is wrong. Human beings we don't behave instinctively. Okay? People like to draw inferences between animals when they want to make a case about. We are not animals in the sense that we don't behave instinctively. We are intelligent beings. But yet still, there are some people who like to draw comparisons between human beings and animals, the human race and animals. But when but you're making comparisons. You're making comparisons between. You call that a question begging epitaph. A question begging epitaph is a fallacy. A fallacy. Okay, a fallacy and something, a false logic, a false way of arriving at truth. You using pseudo appeal to association. And when you talk about pseudo appeal to association, we're talking about pseudo appeal to association. You're comparing apples to banana or apples to oranges. People talk about that. You making comparisons between two indistinct things as if they are the same, and then coming to a conclusion. When you come to a conclusion based on a question begging epitaph, a fallacy, a false logic, a logic that does not make sense. Say, for example, making comparisons between two indistinct things and then coming to a conclusion. The conclusion is not a conclusion because the conclusion is based on a false premise. Of course, that's also part of critical thinking. When you think about critical thinking, you look at the weight of somebody's argument. And somebody attacked me some time ago, and I said to them, we're quick to attack. Somebody attacked me, and I'm going to actually raise that issue. I'm going to open up my screen. I'm not dressed for the classes yet because I'm not fully ready for the class, but let me share my screen. But when we think about, somebody attacked me on Twitter some time ago because the Jamaican government, and we can talk by the way, let's talk about what's going on in Jamaica in terms of minimum wage and what's going on in terms of minimum wage. The Jamaican government has increased minimum wage 29%, or there's a plan to do so. I responded by saying, this is great news. The Jamaican government is increasing minimum wage by 29%. This is great news. Somebody responded, yes, until you look at the information much more clearly, but until you study it more seriously. Look at it 2 more seconds and you realize it's not really good news. And I said, no, it is good news. What's there to study? I said, it is good news. It's good news. I said to you, even if there is room for improvement, this is still good news. Why is it good news? It is good news because inflation is at 9%, single digit, while they are increasing minimum wage double digit, more than 20%, the highest increase in minimum wage in Jamaica in years. So that is good news. They are increasing minimum wage more than they are increasing, which is outstripping the inflation, because inflation affects the power of your dollar. Inflation affects your ability to vote with your dollar. Inflation reduces the value of the money you have in your hands. Okay? And we thought, so if the Jamaican government, I said, this is great news. So the person responded by saying, "No, you know what, you are right. You are right. I never thought about it. I never thought about it like that until we start to delve into the numbers." I said, yes. And I said to him, that is fine. I won't attack you. Some people are quick to attack you when you make an error, but I won't do that. I won't attack you because you make an error. That's fine. I said to him, we have to talk through it. We talk through the issues. We talk through issues. I always say to my friends, people don't like to engage other people. People don't like to talk. And sometimes some people, we talk about people are quick to resort to violence. People are quick to resort to violence in a lot of, we talk about in Jamaica, there's an initiative about in terms of teaching people conflict resolution skills. There's in Philadelphia, there is a new initiative called the Group Intervention Initiative, or some GVI or GIV, something of the sort, Group Intervention Initiative. I wrote about that some time ago. But there's an initiative where they try to reduce gun violence by targeting gangs in certain communities. Group Initiative Intervention. And I said, I have lost my train of thought. I don't know what I was talking about now, why I brought up the group initiative. Yes, and I said to you, we have always had conflict resolution issues. We have always had conflict resolution mechanisms. They used to teach conflict management and conflict resolution at Jamaica Theological Seminary, and the Mennonite Church was known to be a church and a movement that promotes conflict management, conflict resolution, empowering the language, people's ability to speak through things. And I talk about pushing things to its logical end, pushing things to its logical end. But some people do not want to do that. They resort to violence, or people's inability to speak through things, people's inability to communicate effectively. People's inability to communicate effectively can indeed affect their ability to, and their willingness to talk through things, and so on and so on and so forth. But we talk about learning is important, and learning is about changing behavior. Okay. But not only are we to learn, and there's also the saying, to whom much is given, much is required. And of course, you guys come to the learning process. You have goals. You have personal goals. You have career goals. You also have religious and spiritual goals. Some of you may have psychological goals as well, in terms of what you hope to get out of this program at JTS and this particular class. And of course, I say to you, this class is revolutionary because it is practical. We're dealing with issues that affects Caribbean, heavy issues, deep issues. Okay, and it begins by critically understanding who we are as individuals, which involves revisiting our history. And we spend quite a lot of time in this class referencing and going back into history. And because we're not just looking at Jamaica, this class is not just Jamaica thought. I'm driving home that idea home. It's Caribbean thought. We're looking at what's happening, what has happened in the Caribbean thinking. So so I've spent some time over the last class talking about Haiti, because Haiti provides a very interesting situation when you start to study Caribbean. And a lot of the Caribbean countries share similar relationships in terms of the experience of Caribbean, the experience of structural adjustment, and the experience of debt, the experience of their size. And so the experience of a people who's now part of the New World, people who come from places such as Africa, and people who have been mixed up with Europe and so on. We share some of those, and some Europe, whether it be Denmark or France or Spain or England, a European country, has helped to shape the Caribbean lifestyle in a sense. And so we have spent some time to revisit that. And now, of course, the new power block is the US. The US is the dominant country, and the US continue. And so what we continue the issue, we see how power operates. Power continues to dominate, to monopolize. The US got their independence, but of course, slavery continued, discrimination continued. Okay, and hegemony continued in the world. Colonization has continued and even after the fall of the Soviet Union and what's going on in Russia today and so on, where countries are trying to reclaim their dominance. What's going on with Russia invading Ukraine? What's going on with China and their intentions to invade invade Taiwan? What's going on with Israel and Palestine is still an issue today. So these are some of these things never end, and so that is why we look at. So when we look at issues, not only are we developing our knowledge and broadening our understanding of the issues, okay, but we also want to develop ways. How do we, when we have a proper understanding of the issue, understanding the issue, also looking at the strategy behind a particular position. We talk about when you study Caribbean thought, you also start looking at the dynamic of the Caribbean, our position in the world, and the peoples of the Caribbean, and who we are, and who formulates that identity and that representation, okay? And so we talk about, the Caribbean has had mixed reality. We have talked about that the Caribbean, we talked about we being dependent capitalist nation who have mixed reality, struggle with stagnation or instability in their economic development and so on and so forth. But we watched the film Life and Debt, and we had John Castro talking about American politics, and so there's much blame to be thrown around in terms of what has created the reality to the Caribbean. But when you watch the film Life and Debt, we also have to look at the Caribbean leaders, politicians as well, and all the leaders who have helped to forge our independence. When you talk about looking at diverse currents in the Caribbean and looking at the past, one of the issues that has dogged us or that has affected us is the issue of corruption. And the issue of corruption is on the rise. And we want to talk about corruption today in the class. And I'm going to be sharing a film on corruption. Now, the film I'm going to share with you is a film that was produced by the National Integrity Agency back in about 2014. And before the National Integrity Agency, Jamaica's corruption index far exceed that of 60. Okay, far exceed, and you're going to know, and we're going to talk about the corruption index. And this is great. I don't know if you guys has ever been to a class where you are exposed, where you discuss corruption, but we discuss it not flimsically, not whimsically, but we want to use the data. We want to look at what has transpired. So we're saying that, yes, one of the questions that we asked the class, and even of Haiti has a GDP. Yes, we say that these countries are poor, but they all have received hundreds of billions of dollars in terms of assistance, in terms of GDP, income. They all have income. But when you look at what's going on in Haiti, about 50% or over 50% of the population is poor. And of course, I study income inequality in the Caribbean, in the global South. And when you look, so income, so there is the issue of there is a wealthy class in these countries, and they also are part in terms of the negotiation and the strategies and what takes place in these Caribbean countries and what takes place in countries. The issue of corruption is the issue of power. The Caribbean position today is because of power. And once you study Caribbean and Caribbean thought and critically looking at who we are as a people and why we are as a people, and you also are going to look, at it is the issue of power, the strategy of power to create race, the strategy of power to create structural adjustment, the strategy of power to create crisis, OPEC or whatever crisis it may be, okay, and then create solutions to build, okay, that leads to bureaucratic phenomenon that does, where only a few subscribe to the laws or to the rules and others are largely above them. It is an issue, okay, and power. So when we talk about the issue of strategy, and we talk about connectionism in the world, nepotism, and the new kind of capitalism in the world. Nepotism, connectionism, neoliberalism, neo-capitalism. And by the way, I say to you, there is no country that is a capitalist country today, and there's no country that's a true communist country today. What they are a facade They are pseudo. We talk about pseudo. Pseudo means false. Okay, they are fake. They claim to be capitalist countries because capitalist countries is about hard work and savings. Okay, but no, hard work is for the few, while the others use stealth, connectionism, nepotism, and strategy or corruption. And so we want to talk about corruption. We talk about strategy. But what is the strategy? The strategy that we talk about, there are various ways that people use to maintain power, to increase power, to establish power. And it could be a strategy of coercion where Russia is using force. Colonization and slavery was about forced labor, okay? Or there is corruption. As the world becomes more sophisticated, now we are seeing people are using corrupt means. So we talk about strategy, but this, okay, it's a strategy of strategy of corruption, a strategy of coercion. Today we're talking about corruption, okay? And so we want to define what is corruption, and you're looking at a map of the world showing the corruption perception index of 2022, the corruption perception index of 2022. And the image, I got this image from the Transparency International, the Global Coalition Against Corruption. So there is a global coalition against corruption. There's a global coalition against the intervention into Haiti by force. But there's also a global coalition. There's also a global justice movement, the GJM, the Global Justice Movement. And I talk about the global justice movement, and I studied the global justice movement at length in neoliberalism, globalization, income inequality, poverty and resistance in chapter 9 or 10. I talk about the global justice movement. How effective is the global justice movement to bring about equality in the world, to fight against income inequality in the world? Since the Bandung Conference or since the 90s, you find all these moves. So we talk about that. But we won't talk about the global justice movement today. We will get into corruption, and we will also play a 1 hour documentary. But before we get into the 1 hour documentary, we want to quickly revisit what happened in class last week and to let you know what's going on as it relates to Haiti. And I shared with you, some of you, a document via email that you guys can sign. But I want to talk about how you guys felt about. I sent it to you. I want to know what you guys feel about what's going on in Haiti, the presentation from Mr. Concanen, and let you know what we are doing, what I am doing, what you can do. Okay, as we learn about things, we're not going to sit on knowledge. Okay, we're not going to sit on thought. Okay, we should express it. Okay, so what we're going to do is fine. We have learned about what's going on in Haiti. We have learned about what's going on in what has affected the realities of the Caribbean. What can you do about it? What can I do about it? What are we doing about it? Of course, we talk about communication, using podcasting and digital media and social media to bring awareness to what's going on in society. That's one way, okay? And as you learn, writing letters to the gleaner, publishing your ideas and your thoughts, coming up with solutions and recommendations as you learn them. But okay, that's one of the ways. Other ways you can do that is you can do your own podcast as well. That's another way. That's one of the things you can do. You can have your even at your churches and in your community groups, have little forums, little discussions that talk about what's going on in Haiti and what's going on in the Caribbean, really critically looking at what's going on in the world today and what your church and what you can do in your community. And it begins by having the conversations. It begins by having discussions in your local, in your family, at the table, on the buses, because people are not really sitting down to have the serious conversations. And sometimes they're having a conversation, but they don't know where to look to get the information. You guys have that at this level, at the collegiate level. That's where you guys as academics come into being, because now as you come to the class, you're being exposed to information and where to find them. Say, for example, what's going on in Haiti. Now you know where to look. And now we're working on a petition. You guys can get people involved in that. What's going on in terms of corruption? By the way, what is Jamaica's position? What is Jamaican government position on Haiti? What is our position? What are we doing? Secondly, what's going on in terms of corruption in the world? What has happened with the National Integrity Agency? Okay, and why is it that we have either dropped, or how are we doing in terms of that, in terms of crime and violence? What works, what doesn't work, what can we learn from other people? And so you want to expose. So as we come into the class, I said that this class is also like a lab. You know, it's a lab. And I said it's kind of crazy how we are operating in a lab. When you think about a scientific lab, things may not go as you plan. And I said to you, when you come to the class, the course outline, that's the course outline, but nothing is set in stone. Okay. And one of the greatest ways that you can get a grade from somebody tried to be facetious, said, Renaldo, what about quality assurance in terms of how you teach your class and how you're tracking your students and so on and so forth? How I'm tracking my students I'm not tracking my students based on what on the standards and what we and the way how society has developed for people to quantify people in a very general way. People have different and individual perspectives. I'm as a post-millennial, it is you, it is I, it is all of us. We are the people that create change. We are the change agents. They call you disruptors and so on. But every generation comes to the table with something new. Every generation comes with something new, and you push in. But they once thought that the world was flat. Now we learn it was round. And when people try to change that, if you try to say anything else, you would be killed. You were seen as a disruptor. But now we have come to understand that the world is not flat. Okay? So I say to you, it is you, when you get information, don't just hold on to it. Use it to empower people, you empower yourself. Of course, you want to push it to its logical end. Okay? You push the information to its logical end. So we want today's class, we want you guys to be affected by the information and to promote the information. And just so you know, how you engage the material, your discussions in the class, and of course, the final paper and the exam is what I will use, and your engagement. And many of you have been engaging, and that is really good. Now, today we talk about corruption, but I'm going to take a quick 5 minutes break. And then when we come back, I will get into the lecture. But while I take this 5 minute break, I have a question for you. The question is, what is Jamaica's corruption is measured on a scale of 0 to 100. Corruption. If you are 0, it means you're a clean country, there's no corruption. If you are at 100, it means you're highly corrupt. What do you think Jamaica's corruption index is today? Or we don't have 2023 levels. 2022. What do you think Jamaica's corruption index is today? And why do you think so? What do you think Jamaica's in fact, let me change that since we're still in Caribbean. What do you think Jamaica's corruption index is today in relation to other Caribbean countries? And why do you say that? What do you think what is Jamaica's current corruption index? And why do you make that determination? Okay? What is Jamaica's corruption index? Now, I only see 30, oh, now we have 40 people in the class. Great. I need you guys I need more people. I hope we have the full class today. It promises to be exciting. So I'm showing you that screen. I don't want to give away the answer, so let me not skip. So that's the question for today. And let me bring up the lecture for today. Today's class is entitled, by the way, I missed a long lecture, a bit of lecture, which I need to get back to in terms of defining nationalization. I need to define some key terms. I need to define, but you know what? I won't get into that. You guys can define it yours. You guys have the lecture. This lecture that I am reading from, I think I updated it. I sent it to you. But there are some before week 9, there are some key terms that I have to define, which I have here, which there's a whole lecture which I missed right here. which I need to get into. What constitutes the Caribbean? Okay, fine. I need to get into some of that. I don't think I get what is Caribbean. Okay, I was supposed to do something right there. Okay, so when we come back, we're gonna start with this quickly. Then I'm going to have you guys see what you guys come up with. What is Jamaica's corruption index on a scale of 0? Please do not Google it. You know, you can Google it if you want, but I prefer you not do it. But what's Jamaica's corruption index on a scale of 0 to 100? And why do you say that? And by the way, I might ask you, okay, and then I'm going to ask you, why do you say that? And when I ask you why you say that, one of the questions might be, I will get to understand. And how do you define? How do you define corruption and so on? And do you see any traces of corruption in your church, in your community, and so on and so forth, and what and so on and so forth? But we don't want to spend too much time because the video is going to be an hour long, and then I have to present on. I think I have a 15-minute presentation, a lecture that I'm going to share, and I'm going to do a quick thing on tracing and defining Caribbean thought. It's wrapping up some things in terms of tracing Caribbean. I need to do that quickly. What is Caribbean thought? Do a quick revisit that real quickly. This issue of Rex Nettleford, national identity, I want to do that real quickly with you. The extent to which the resistance movement has blah, 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 blah. What constitutes Caribbean, which is a repeat. Good. Which is all those I repeat. Is there a Caribbean identity? If so, what is it? The question of who we are. Great. Fidel Castro, we will do that. Marxist, I'll do that quickly before we get into the lecture. Oh, wow, I have all this to do to socialism, nationalism. What is the nation? Freedom towards the future. And then we get into... No, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to get into corruption today. I'm going to get into corruption. We're going to get, when we come back, we're going to get into the lecture. And corruption. I'm going to go through this. All right, good. I'm going to go through this. Okay, good. That's what we're going to do. When I come back, the students are going to, we're going to have a quick discussion for about 5 to 10 minutes in terms of what your ideas are, where you think Jamaica's corruption index is. And then I'm going to quickly introduce the film, watch the film, come back, and then I'm going to ask you, based on the film, what do you think Jamaica's corruption index is now? Probably, yeah. All right, so we take a quick 5 minutes break. We come back at 7:30, at 7:35, and when we come back in 5 minutes, it's 7:31, we come back at 7:36. When we come back at 7:36, I will hear what you guys have to say in terms of what you think Jamaica, where the Jamaican corruption index lie in terms of worldwide between 0 and 100. And what do you think other Caribbean countries' corruption index is, and why do you say that? And then we begin the lecture, and then we go in. Well, we have begun the lecture. All right, we'll be right back. By the way, if there are students in this class that, and you know they're not here, could someone reach out to them, please, Chantel and the others? Some students are not in the class today.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, there are 25 students in this class, and right now we only have 13 persons are showing in the class. Only 13. That is a problem. And when I come back, I also need maybe towards the end, we're going to talk. Actually, when we come back, I have to talk about the Haiti situation and what we're going to do. Yes, when we come back, we talk about Haiti. Then we deal with the corruption question. Watch the film and wrap up. Okay.
Sir, also, sir, there is about 21% in the class.
Go ahead.
There's about 21% in the class, but some persons were dropped out. Well, 20% dropped out, so there's about 21% in the class.
21?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's fine. There's some persons that dropped out, but 3 persons.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There were 3 more persons that came on after that. Yes. So actually, because
I have in the groups, I have 4 groups, 3 with 4 persons and 1 with 5 persons. I haven't seen anybody that they're not in a group, so I'm not sure.
I think there are more people in the class than what we.
I'm gonna text her. I'm gonna double check.
And then I think there are some people that were added. I think 3 or 4 people were added, but I don't think they haven't been contacting or sending emails or anything. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I don't know those persons and stuff, but if they don't email or send anything, I won't know that they are in the class.
Okay. All right, we'll be back in 4 minutes. Okay, 4 minutes. Write your answers down. Let me see what you guys are gonna say. Then, of course, you guys are gonna find today's class quite interesting. Watching the film on corruption is gonna be quite interesting. Okay, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the class. How are you guys doing? How is your week so far? How is the week so far?
Good, sir.
Blessed, sir. Blessed. We have a blessed week, sir. I have a blessed.
Yes, sir. Blessed week, sir. Awesome.
Today was blessed. Nice. That's what I like to hear. That is good. That is good. That is good. Well, I hope it continues like that for this weekend. Now, welcome to Caribbean Thought again for those of us who are just joining us. Today we're going to be looking. Today is week 9. We're looking at corruption, and I'll bring it up for week 9. Week 9 we are looking at corruption and opportunity, an analysis of the cost of corruption and discovery of oil in the Caribbean, because we said that it's not all doom and gloom in the Caribbean. Now, what do you guys think? By the way, let me begin by saying today we're going to be watching a documentary film. It's entitled Cost of Corruption. It's called The Cost of Corruption. And there has been much talk about corruption. There has been much talk about corruption with the rise of the white-collar crimes or theft in Jamaica. And recently, Janie McKeown submitted a letter to the Gleaner. Janie or Jane McKeown submitted a letter to the Gleaner, which was letter of the day on January 18th, 2022, defining white-collar crimes from a sociological perspective as a product, and I am determining that she was defining the issue of, she was defining white-collar crimes from a sociological perspective as a product of the societal, notice the key terms here when you talk about sociological, as a product, defining white-collar crimes from a sociological perspective as a product of the societal and cultural norms, that shape the behavior of individuals and organizations. It is a product of the societal and cultural norms, white-collar crimes. So somebody asked in the class, is the white-collar crimes and the SSL crimes and all of that happening in Jamaica? And this is big things in Jamaica because, by the way, recently, an 80-year-old woman lost 200 million Jamaican dollars, which is about 1.45 million US dollars. Her bank account was wiped out. And some time ago, we heard about Usain Bolt. But it's not just happening in Jamaica. Look what's going on in terms of what's going on. But that's a different issue. What's going on in terms of the Silicon Valley banks and so on. That's a different issue in terms of, that's not an issue of fraud or corruption, but maybe it is an issue of fraud and corruption. A wider issue when you start to study what's going on with Silicon banks. And that they had, Barack Obama and others had enacted laws, the Dodd-Frank law, as a way to minimize any kind of fraud or banking irregularities or whatever that can, or so as to make banking more transparent. But what you have in 2016, when Donald Trump came to power, they got rid of the Dodd-Frank law, I believe. Or they got rid of it. It was okay. Because the people in power, as usual, try to hide. People want to use loopholes and they want to go around things and they want to hide. I wrote an article and it said a Black academic response to the issue of dealing with police brutality. I said people in the issue of power and corruption, people like to do things incognito, hide. They appear to be, especially those in power who promote purity and seem to promote the law, but in the 21st century now, what you have is people, or they hide behind rules and regulations, or they break the law, or nepotism and connectionism and so on. It's always done in secret. That is why there's laws and there are efforts to make things more transparent. But there are those who are working to make things less transparent. So the issue of transparency is very important when you start thinking about that. Thinking about how do you deal with the issue of corruption, the issue of white-collar crimes. White-collar people, those who white-collar crimes, those who commit white-collar crimes, in many of them have certain certain connections, have arrived in society, have certain positions in society, and connected in society, and they are able to hide and get away with it because they are able. Because we talk about people who control the narrative, people who talk about the control of information. We talk about the controlling the narrative. Who controls the narrative? If you can control the narrative, you can do things and hide behind the narrative that you promote. Okay. But anyway, let's continue with the article here. So it says, well, with my presentation, the letter of the day, January 18th, 2022, Miss McKeown, whatever, however she pronounces her name, defines white-collar crime from a sociological perspective as a product of the societal, and it's quite interesting that you said it is a product of the societal and cultural forms that shape, or maybe I should say a byproduct of the societal and cultural forms that shape the behavior of individuals and organizations. So then you will ask, what are the societal norms? What are the cultural norms that have helped to shape the behavior of individuals and organizations in the Caribbean that has predisposed them to the levels of corruption or to white-collar crime that's happening in Jamaica today? Of course, those are questions that you can ask yourself, a product, a societal norm. But then when you start to look at I say to you, when you start to look at the corruption index, it's as if corruption is a human issue, human nature. It's not just a societal issue. It is not just in one society, it's in almost every society. But there are some societies that do not have the levels of white-collar crimes and corruption in those societies. What are those societies? We will see what those societies are. Now, Jamaica, like many developing countries, has a culture of corruption that is deeply ingrained in its society. That's according to Ms. McKeown. Now, do you agree that Jamaica, like many developing countries, has a culture of corruption that is deeply ingrained in society? Do you agree with this article? That's a good question. This culture of corruption can be seen in now, but she continues by saying that this culture of corruption can be seen in the widespread acceptance of bribes, embezzlement, and other forms of white-collar crime as a normal part of doing business. That's when it becomes the problem, when it becomes the norm. We talk about this, there's a word that I learned when I lived in Jamaica called bandooloism. In fact, and there were some people who promoted this promoted bandooloism as if it was an awesome and an amazing character of the Jamaican experience, as if Jamaicans, that's who we love, bandooloism, man. You know? But by the way, you can see Janelle McKeown's letter of the day, the impact of white-collar crimes in Jamaica, letter dated January 18th, 2023. Now, 3 students, Tyrese, Sanchez. Go ahead. Yeah, let's start.
Before you go further, I'm looking at your writings there. At the top, you have January 18, 2022. And at your reference, you have January 18, 2023.
Thanks. Type it. Letter of the day. It was 2023. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So thank you so much. So now, before I move on from here, question. According to this letter of the day, she said that the culture of corruption can be seen in the widespread acceptance of embezzlement, so on and so forth. But according to the letter, it says Jamaica, like many developing countries, has a culture of corruption that is deeply ingrained in its society. Is that true? Do you agree that with Janelle or with Janelle McCowan? Do you agree, guys, that the culture of corruption can be, that Jamaica, like many developing countries, has a culture of corruption that is deeply ingrained in its society? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Totally agree, sir.
Okay, why do you say that?
Okay, so when you talk about bribery or corruption, well, corruption, not bribery, corruption, we all know that this is something that Jamaica, well, affects us as a country. We think about, well, we know about what is happening in the banking industry, and I wouldn't even go that far. But just to get through business in Jamaica, at some point in time, we're going to get involved with some kind of a corruption. At some point, you go somewhere and you want to get through, the place is crowded and whatever, you find a little person that is going to get you out of the line, ahead of the line, and get through with what you did that you want to get done. Or you go to an institution and something that you would want to get done in a day, it is going to take you a month. And so in order to get it done in the day, you have to find a way to get it done within the time that you want to get it done.
Wait, this is interesting. Okay, this is interesting. So you're saying that
it is the truth.
So you're saying that because the system is so archaic in one sense, because it's so difficult to get things done, then in a sense, corruption provides an easier way to get through the hassle of some of the systems that people have to go through. Because I know people have complained about how difficult it is to start a business in Jamaica or to invest in Jamaica. People talk about the red tapes or the bureaucracy to get things done in Jamaica. So when there is high amount of bureaucracy,
it forces you to get involved in corruption.
Create more corruption. Oh, yes. Wow. Okay, wow. Yes. I never thought about that. Okay, it's saying that yes, Jamaica is corrupt. And yes, in terms of getting things done in terms of hiding and getting things done on the side, not going
within a reasonable time that is beneficial to you.
So the system takes a long time to provide people to satisfy people's needs and so on. So you're saying that because of the level of bureaucracy in the system, sometimes it facilitates corruption, and especially so many of these countries in the Caribbean, the global south, there is a level of bureaucracy that then allows forces people to use corrupt means to get things done. Yes, I see several hands raised. Who is that?
This is me first, sir.
Who's first? Shireen or Christine?
Yes, Christine.
Christine, go ahead.
So, two things. One, you see when you look at our history, you can see that this is embedded in our history. We're coming back from the days of piracy, coming forward into I believe that the white collar crime is just modern day piracy. It's stemming from that, but I don't agree totally. Some of it points to that the system is archaic, which is what allows some of the buttering of hands to happen. But when you look at the integrity of the people as well, because this is not just a matter of doing business at that high level you spoke of starting a business. We're talking about simple day-to-day transactions. If you go to an establishment to buy something, even if you're first, you're not given any attention in a simple thing like customer service, unless you give somebody a tip. That is when they start smiling at you. That is when they start pandering to you. And so you find that it's not just up, it's very commonplace.
Okay, thank you so much. Who is next? Shireen, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good night. I was just agreeing with Miss East. I agree that because to get things done are so hectic. For example, getting a bank account, getting a driver's license. It is so difficult to get a driver's license. That person go and buy it. So things are so difficult. They break the law. And okay, somebody at the depot knows somebody and they make links and somebody can get it for a specific amount of money, because when persons do it legitly, they fail them go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. They can't get the license, even if they drive good, they find some reason to say, okay, you failed. And so the person says, okay, all right, I'm failing so many times, so let me just go and do the backdoor dealings.
Are we hypocrites? Are people hypocrites? Backdoor is okay. It's okay for people to operate, okay, outside of the system, okay, so long as it satisfies you. But when another person does it, then it creates a problem, because the other persons are not getting the benefit. But the question I'm saying is that, is it an issue where corruption becomes a problem only when you are not involved in the act of corruption? Is that what's going? Okay. Chantel, and then Elise. Chantel.
Sir. I was gonna say exactly what Sharon just said about the whole driver license thing, because even when I go to get my driver license, sir, I drive good and they said that I failed. And after paying the guy was like, when I pay from first, where you have to drive 2 times and fail before you can pay. So, and then even where now, where my boss get export stuff like containers from European countries, and the custom persons them that come to check the container, it must give them a money or give them a free item, a free store, a free machine or whatever, and then just be able to check the container, and no matter what it's in there, them just be able to, because they're getting paid from him or a tip from him to do not full check the container as they should. So there's a lot of corruption. So persons can carry containers with stuff in there, like guns or illegal stuff, and they just pay the custom persons them, and then just go away without even checking the container properly.
Wow, it creates problems. So yes, so we are linked with it. Corruption, while it helps in one sense, I'm hearing that corruption is a means to an end, especially for people of limited means who want to be able to get by in life. People who are, because the system makes it so difficult for people to access certain services and so on. I'm hearing then fine, it's easier for you but there are those easier for you to get things done using corrupt means, but there are those people now who have turned it into a legitimate business where people fail an exam, people who legitimately apply for a service or a business, but they are being denied, and in a sense you are forced to engage in corruption in order to access certain services, because now it's a thing where those who are involved in it at the higher level are forcing you to do so. And wow, this is quite interesting. Who is next? Jason?
Elise, yes, sir.
Elise.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I want to get into it, but let me touch it. My colleagues touched on the point of a driver's license.
Yeah.
I know this is a business out there where these persons use it as an income, and I'm not sure if it's really a situation where you go and you drive and you fail if you drive good. I don't know if it is to that extreme, because I know if I can talk about my own child. When I sent her to learn to drive, the instructor gave her an option. He says you can either drive for it or you can pay for it. When she told me that, I said to her, listen, you are going to drive for it. She went, she did her test, The first time she failed. And she went back and she said, listen, I am not going to fail this time around. And she drove and she got her license. Now, I think persons has just become so comfortable with the system the way it is, they don't even try anymore. They just, they got the option. Do you want to drive or do you want to pay? And they just go ahead and they just pay for it. So we have become so comfortable with the system that sometimes we don't even try.
Thank you so much. That's quite.
That is true, too, sir.
Jason, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Yes, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
I am of the view that the morals of people, not everyone, but it is of no more to an extent. In regards to failing, no one would want to fail. And they see the opportunity to pay their way out of life. They will do that. And look at the system set it that way that person will always hustle, because person will use their office to self-gain. For example, I'm not bashing on a police officer, but if a police officer is out there, the government, they are not paying them to sustain their family and their needs and wants to an extent. And if it's a case where the police officer will stop you and he see to give you a 3 ticket costing 50,000, and you know that it's hard for you to pay that 50,000, and it's all right, give me 15. And you in yourself, you know you're wrong, but you know you can pay a 15,000 out of your wrongs. Yes, you're contributing to corruption, but it's to ensure that you are okay on that side. So indirectly or directly, individuals contribute to corruption, knowing or unknowing. So that's my views on it.
So, okay, fine. There we go. Thank you so much. So the issue of corruption is very, I'm so happy that you said that. You said that many people contribute to corruption, knowingly or unknowingly. It could be because of the system, the kind of system that people have, but then there's an issue of equality, the issue of there are some people who have access to corruption, there are those who don't have access to corruption. And then people become, and then it leads to unfair gain, which affect other people. And if we live in a society with limited resources, and we have to allocate resources amongst unlimited wants, then if people access some services, access certain services in a corrupt manner, it may also affect other people. It affects other. Let's define what corruption is. We define corruption as the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. Again, we define. So when we talk about power now, we're more talking about it in terms of the issue of power. It's an abuse of power. Okay. So if the police, if I'm a regular citizen and I pay for my driver's license, that's not really necessarily corruption. But corruption is usually when those who are in power abuse their power for private gain. So that's corruption, okay? That's the first thing. So corruption, and now what corruption does? Corruption erodes trust. It weakens democracy. It hampers economic development and further exacerbates inequality, poverty, social division, and the environmental crisis. Okay. Say, for example, the distribution of contracts, giving out contracts to your friends and your family. Recently, the Prime Minister of Jamaica was cited for making a recommendation to a family friend of his who I understand that, but that happened about 15 or 20 years ago. that also can be seen as corruption, but according to him, it wasn't an abuse of power. It wasn't corruption. I thought it wasn't really corruption. He made a recommendation about a friend, and who he knows about. A family friend of his, and that was 15 years ago. The question is, did they do the job properly? Did they go through the channel? Did they do the due diligence? Did they go through the necessary process? So that is corruption. When we look at corruption, it's abuse of power. Say, for example, if you award contracts and you have to subscribe to a particular system, a process to get the contract, but you have a friend that works in the office that awards contract, and he or she gives you the contract without you having to do anything else. That is abuse of power. Okay, that is the kind of corruption we're talking about. And what you have, it's also connectionism and nepotism leads to corruption. When we talk about nepotism and corrupt, we talk about that is the hallmark of neo-capitalism. Okay, neo-capitalism. Do as I do as I say, but not as I do. Okay, and or duplicity and hypocrisy and so on. So when we talk, that's what we're talking about. Now, exposing corruption and holding the corrupt to account can only happen if we understand the way corruption works and the systems that enable it. When we talk about corruption, we're talking about fraud. So we talk about the issues that, when we talk about corruption, we talk about power, talk about fraud. Again, corruption, we talk about fraud and power and so on. How does corruption affect you? The question in terms of how corruption affects you. And there is a YouTube video that I will play quickly so that you can watch that. Let me minimize this and I'll play this.
What is corruption? To us, it's simple. Corruption is the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. Whether it's paying a bribe to access public services like healthcare and education, or whether it's money laundering schemes involving billions in dirty money. What's important is how corruption affects you, and the cost of corruption can be enormous. Corruption can cost you your livelihood, your rights, your health, your freedom, and sometimes even your life. It erodes democratic freedoms, rule of law, and trust in government. Corruption also reduces your chances for a healthy environment and sustainable future. When money meant to tackle the climate crisis is stolen, that's your future being taken from you. When money meant to improve your local schools, hospitals, and roads is snatched away, opportunities for a better life are lost with it. When money meant to improve your government and the rule of law is stolen, so too is your chance for a more just and secure future. Every year we lose billions to corruption, billions that were supposed to improve all of our lives, our opportunities, and our communities. At times, the scale of the problem can seem overwhelming, but corruption is not inevitable. Together, we have the power to stop corruption. Join us.
Okay, and that is a video that I took from the transparency.org. Now let's look at the basics. Corruption can take many forms and can include behaviors like 1, public servant demanding or taking money or favors in exchange for services. Public servant demanding or taking money or favors in exchange for services. Secondly, politicians misusing public money or granting public jobs or contracts to their sponsors, friends, and families. I alluded to that, okay? Corporations bribing officials to get lucrative deals, okay? Again, public servant demanding or taking money or favors in exchange for services. Public servant demanding money or taking money in exchange for public service. Politicians misusing public money or granting public jobs or contracts to their sponsors, friends, and families. And corporations bribing officials to get lucrative deals. Okay. Now, of course, so say for example, when the church was selling indulgences in order to grant forgiveness, that was an abuse of their power. That was a corruption of the scriptures. They were selling forgiveness called indulgences during the Middle Ages. But they'll only do so if the princes, the European princes, the kings of the nations, would give them lands and so on and so forth, and land and house and so on and so forth. Okay, give them property, so to speak. A corruption of the scriptures, taking money or favors in exchange for services. Okay, corporations bribing officials. Now, corruption can happen anywhere, in business, government, the courts, the media, and in civil society, as well as across all sectors from health and education to infrastructure and sports. Corruption can involve, even in the church, okay? Corruption can involve anyone, politicians, government officials, public servants, business people, or members of the public. Corruption have happened in the shadows, often with, and notice I say in the shadows. And earlier we said that corruption feeds off being hidden, okay? Police brutality feeds off being hidden. If police feel as though they are not being seen, that is when they do their worst, okay? And that is why people are trying to regulate information now, because now everybody have access to information. But corruption can involve anyone, and we said that it happens in the shadows, often with the help of professional enablers, such as bankers, lawyers, accountants, real estate agents, opaque financial systems, and anonymous shell companies that allow corruption schemes to flourish and the corrupt to launder and hide their illicit wealth. We talk about, say, for example, they are banning, when DeSantis and the Republican Party want to ban critical race theory, what they're trying to do is they're trying to hide their illicit wealth, okay, by banning critical race theory, by hiding the truth. Because we talk about the shadows. That's also a corrupt means, using the system and politics. Corruption adapts to different contexts and changing circumstances. It can evolve in responses to changes in rules, legislation, and even technology. Okay, we talk about the cost of corruption. There are various costs to corruption. There's the political costs, your freedom and rule of law, political costs, social costs, your participation and even your trust in government, environmental costs, your chance for a healthy environment and a sustainable future, and of course, economic costs, your opportunities to build and grow health. Now, when we talk about structural adjustment policy and the problem of the Caribbean today was a problem of corruption and hypocrisy and duplicity. It was corruption that caused the Caribbean and many Caribbean countries, okay, to continue to continue to experience deepened realities or dependent realities. When you talk about the political cost, the social cost in the Caribbean, when you talk about the environmental costs in terms of and the economic costs, the corruption has affected the Caribbean. And when people talk about corruption, you never look at it in terms of globally. You never look at it in terms of what's going on globally in the world. People look at it in terms of government, but there's also global corruption and the strategies behind many global policies that create the realities of income inequalities and poverty in the world today. And people hide behind social welfare. Now, to fight corruption, we must endure transparency. Transparency is all about knowing who, why, what, how, and how much. It means shedding light on formal and informal rules. Notice I say shedding light on formal, because corruption is not, okay, make use of not just informal, but also formal rules, plans, processes, and actions. Transparency helps us, the public, hold all power to account for the common good, the public. Seeking and receiving information is a human right. that can act as a safeguard against corruption and increase trust in decision makers and public institutions. However, transparency is not only about making information available, but ensuring it can be easily accessed, understood, and used by citizens. And that's the next important thing, information. The access to information. And if you want to make information easily accessible in order to promote transparency, it means that you have to decentralize information and deregulate it out of the hands of those who hold monopoly in society. But transparency is only the first step to curbing corruption. It's only the first step to curbing corruption. Another way that we can curb corruption is this. By the way, you can share the transparency.org. They have a website. You can subscribe to their weekly newsletter to get the latest news and updates from Transparency International. In fact, I was going to do this earlier, but I said I'm going to wait until I get to the class to make it an activity. I'm going to sign up so I can get information about what's going on in terms of Renaldo in the world, McKenzie at jts.edu.jm. I'm going to sign up and select country. All right, since I'm in the US, we are going to sign up for the US, United States. There we go. And okay, and I'm done. Oh, work in. Oh, donate to chapter. Okay, they asked me to donate. All right, no, I'm not trying to donate. So there we go. But anyways, though, that's one of they have ways you can join. They have campaigns in terms of what we do. We campaign to drive systemic change in anti-corruption. Transparency International's issue-based campaign focus on solving corruption problems that lead to some of the greatest injustices worldwide. See, for example, what's going on in Haiti, the injustice, what's going on in Haiti and how they were robbed, and that is affecting them now. We work to disrupt transnational corruption and to replace bad global policies with robust new solutions, because many of these transnational policies and global policies, many of them are based in corruption, nepotism, and connectionism. We talk about the bureaucratic phenomenon that has affected the Caribbean. So, of course, we have to study global politics and geopolitical issues in the world that has created the problems in the Caribbean. So now, earlier I asked you a question. I asked the question earlier. Where is Jamaica on the corruption index? What do you guys? Any question? Where is Jamaica on the corruption index? On a scale of 0 to 100. Where is Jamaica, guys? Are you guys hearing me?
We're hearing, sir. We just said not to Google, right?
On a scale of 0 to 100, what's Jamaica's corruption index?
So I would say over 50.
Are
What
those
is happening in Jamaica right now? I would say over 50, sir.
I would say 70, based on the nature of crimes that have been taking place in our society, including politicians, financial sectors, different avenues and areas. So I wouldn't subscribe it to this information here or statistics here. I would more let it be subjected to this specific time that is happening in Jamaica, all the different activities. It's been an interesting season.
Yes, sir.
It's like every day, every week, there's another series, an episode.
Okay, let's see. 0 to 25, 26 to 45 to 40, 45 to and let's say 75 for single choice, create breakout room. Okay. How do I do this? Do I have to create a breakout room to do this? Host can create breakout rooms in meetings based on participant answers. Oh, okay, this is fun. I could do it like that. All right. I'm going to create a breakout room, and based on your choice and based on what you choose, that's going to be the room that you're in. So let's save that. And what? I mean, untitled. I already edited. Okay, save. All right, by the way, what is CPI? What is CPI?
Corruption Perception Index.
Good. CPI is it measures the corruption perception index of a country, and it's between 0 to 100. Okay, on a scale of 0 to 100. 0 means what? No corruption. The country is clean. Okay, right? And 100 means it is very corrupt. Okay. Do you guys get that?
Hello? Would it be
yes,
anonymous?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Would it be anonymous, sir?
Yes, sir.
Repeat, sir.
No, I said Jamaica's corruption index measures corruption perception within a country. Countries on a level of 0 to 100. 0 means the country has no corruption or it's clean. 100 means it's highly corrupt. So it's on a scale of 0 to 100. Okay. The closer you are to 0, you're highly corrupt. You're clean. The closer you are to 100, the more corrupt you are. Okay. That's the corruption perception index. And the perceived levels of public sector corruption and they have corruption index for over 180 countries. Okay, so far I'm looking at the poll. Are you guys seeing the poll? So far, only 66% of you are participating. There are several other persons who are not participating.
Not seeing the poll,
so
sir.
We need to vote, sir?
We're not seeing the poll.
We need to vote?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to place my vote now.
Some of you have voted. I think 8 out of 12 said 45 to 75. 2 out of 30. But you won't see the poll, but I'll give you the answer in a couple seconds. And that's okay. This is quite interesting. And what I'm going to do now, while you are doing that, I am going to get the movie. Oops. How do I find it? Oh. I am about to end the poll. Let me see. Okay, you have all answered the question. I'm ready to end the poll and let me see. Okay, you guys ready to hear the results?
Yes, sir.
Sure, sir.
Okay, okay, great. I am not going to give you the results until after we watch the video.
Really, sir? Really, sir?
Yes. Okay. Oh, let me give you the results. Are you guys seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so far, Jamaica, the question is, what is Jamaica's CPI?
Sir, your screen is showing YouTube.
Yes, sir, on the corruption movie.
Oh, okay. I don't know why it's not. I should be able to share the poll, right? Let's end the poll now. Share results. Ooh, I love this. Okay, you guys should be getting the results right now. Okay. What is Jamaica's CPI? Of 15% participated and 100 persons answered the question. Is it 45 to 75? 10 out of 15, 67% of you believe it's 45, between 45 to 75. 13% of you think it is 25 to 44. Nobody believes it. Wow, nobody believes it's 0. Why would nobody not choose 0 to 25? Okay. And of course, 20% of you believe that Jamaica has its corruption index that's above 75 and above. Okay, great. I will have, why is it that nobody chose 0 to 25?
Sir, because we live here.
The evidence.
And we would be lying.
The evidence.
We would be lying.
Wait. Who answered that just now? I love that answer. Who the first person that answered?
Yes.
Who said that?
No idea.
Boy, now they do. That was a good answer. I love it. You're like, oh, because we live here. That is so. I love that answer. Thank you. Oh, before we finish class today, guys, remind me to talk with you about a very important matter. At 9:30, this video is going to be in 57 minutes. And when we are finished, I'm going to do a quick wrap up of the video. But 30 minutes before 10 o'clock, before 9 o'clock your time, let me know. Because I want to have a discussion with you about a very important initiative, a matter regarding our lecture last week and what's going on with Haiti and what we can do about it. Some of you might have already been receiving the file, the petition that we drafted up, that I shared with you guys. We're going to circulate it among the school, the faculty and the student body. I don't know if some of you are part of the student council, because we not only do we want the petition to be a Jamaica Theological Seminary thing, we want to share this petition on every single campus and in churches all over Jamaica and in the Caribbean. We want to get as many signatures as possible, and we want to send it to each CARICOM nation head or prime minister or president, whatever the case might be. So, and hopefully you guys can get involved, since you guys are exposed to the information. You guys know what's going on in Haiti now. And it doesn't take much. All we want you to do is to sign the document, read it, discuss it, sign it, share it with other people, get them to sign it as well. And then when we are finished with it, we're going to send it to the Prime Minister. We're going to take we're going to have it available for about 30 days. And then when we're finished and get all the signatures, then we're going to send it. We're going to get as many signatures as possible. Then we will send it up to the Prime Minister of Jamaica. Okay, but that's an initiative we're working on. All right, so we know what the results are. Let me see, 20. So no, see what your results are, and then after we play the movie, I want to find out if anybody want to adjust their answers. I'm going to do another poll and see what the poll looks like before and after. So right now I'm seeing majority of you believe that it's between 45 to 75. And 20% between 75 and above. Okay. All right. So now here is the video that I am going to let you watch. It's called Corruption, Jamaica's National Security Policy. This video is by, it's called Cost of Corruption, Jamaica's Barrier to Prosperity. It's by the National Integrity Action Agency. It's a not-for-profit organization that was launched in December of 2011 with the objective of combating corruption in Jamaica on a non-bipartisan basis. This film, produced by the NIA, graphically details 4 episodes in Jamaica's 50-year post-independence history. each of which speaks to how corruption undermines Jamaica's achievement. Okay, so when I talk about corruption, it's not just in terms of neoliberal globalization or the nepotism and connectionism of transnationalism and the IMF and so on and so forth, but also within the local, okay, and how they work in concert, and or what we have done, what the local what your government have done, so and what we can and what is being done to chart a new course. But we're going to watch this video. As I said to you, it was done in 2013, but it's quite interesting because it really look at the Jamaica's history in terms of corruption, what has affected our position, and what we can learn from this and we can do in the future to make it better. Okay, here we go.
Corruption in its various forms is a serious threat to the social order and the rule of law.
Corrupted people are really criminals.
Corruption starts at the head of our government system.
Sir,
you know, the governance part, that's where most of the problem lies within the country.
Hello? Are you guys hearing?
Never mind. Yes, sir, we're hearing.
Oh.
The corrupt in such a way that you can't stand up. If you say something, you're going to get what you don't get. Frankly speaking, that's a joke. You know, everybody corrupt. Jamaica corrupt. And the whole of them corrupt. The whole of them corrupt.
You know, who is one of the main reasons for corruption?
We are a corrupt society in so many ways. We maim, harm, and kill each other for quickly and for no reason.
The film you are about to see is about a matter of major and growing concern amongst the Jamaican people from all walks of
Sir, the audio leaves, sir.
Audio's gone.
I did that because I wanted to see. Okay, I am sharing my screen with you, right? But advanced sharing options. I think. Oops. Share. Okay, there we go. Share sound. You guys were getting the sound from my mic, but not from the YouTube thingy. So now I'm sharing the sound directly from YouTube. So now I can mute my mic. If you're not hearing it, let me know. Mute.
truly proud as Jamaicans of our achievements since independence. But we could have achieved so much more had we brought corruption more under control. I am Professor Trevor Monroe, Head of National Integrity Action. And in the next hour, you're going to be hearing from experts dealing with different episodes of corruption that have bedeviled our country and our progress over the last 40 years.
Oh, do I think Jamaica is a corrupt place? Yes, it is. Yeah, very corrupt.
Transparency International give Jamaica a ranking of 3.3 out of 10, where the closer you get to 0, the more corrupt you are. And it actually argues that in Jamaica, corruption is the norm.
Corrupted people are really criminals. So, same way as how you define the criminals, the same way you should define corruption.
Where is the money going? What you doing with all these monies?
But many people have reported that the experience of low-level corruption has diminished considerably in recent years. So what the score probably reflects is the continued existence of high-level corruption, which really reflects the way that our political system is still contaminated by links with organized crime.
I think the government needs to be more interactive with the people of the country. I think they need to know what people want for the country and not just decide for them.
In reality, if it was the lower level end persons only in the corruption, I mean, that could have been dissolved a long time. Because the higher level would come in and brute force that. See, if the king is corrupt, then his soldiers gonna be corrupt, and his followers gonna be corrupt. I'm not saying the government is corrupt, but I'm saying it is coming from the top end level.
Corruption starts at the head of our government system and comes right down. So it's not, I can't comment on corruption because not that I'm not aware of it, I know that it exists, but where it starts from or where it comes from, I cannot tell you.
My particular concern is the complicity of government and those who are in political leadership and what they should do differently and how they allow things to go by and even contribute to public office being misused.
We have never really go forward with actually prosecuting someone of status with these laws, and I think that is really what perpetuate the crime of corruption, you know.
I feel corruption is not a small man or a big man issue. It's an everybody thing. We are supposed to look into it. You understand me?
Right now, you're having two politicians. You have JLP and PNP. And the whole of them corrupt. The whole of them corrupt.
At the political level, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence and people that speak to you off the record about wanting to do investments in Jamaica, whether local investors or foreign investors, and feeling that either being outrightly asked to pay for services or feeling that because they were unwilling to, then whatever ideas they had did not get to the top of the chain.
Towards the end of the 1960s, when Jamaica was amongst the fastest growing economies in the world, we received what was up until that point the largest loan to a developing country granted by the World Bank, and we received that loan for educational purposes, to build schools and institutions that would have been able to receive the influx of young people seeking an educational opportunity in the years after independence. The loan did not achieve its purpose as intended. There were immense cost overruns, 100%, which contributed to the beginnings of our debt, and which, had we not had those overruns, we could have built 50 more schools. Reason? Partisan, political award of contracts, not on the basis of merit, not on the basis of competence, but on the basis of party connection. And of course, the contractors gave back to the politicians, to the party, kickbacks in appreciation for this political corrupt behavior. Jamaica suffered then, and we continue to suffer now from this political corruption that we need to bring to an end.
Education is a key.
After 5 decades of independence, a lot of Jamaicans have begun to have doubts as to whether independence is a good thing. And when you look at the problems that Jamaica face, you can trace many of them to a weak or a non-performing education and training system. For me, there are two main objectives about an education and training system. And if it is effective, you'll see it in a productive labor force. Jamaica has one of the least productive labor forces in the Caribbean, much more in the world today. Out of a labor force of some 1.3, 1.4 million, over 900,000 have no training at all. Among the thousands of unemployed, many of them have been to secondary school for 4 years or more and they don't have one piece of certification. The second objective about an education and training system, and if it is good, it does what I would say, build a more socially cohesive society. Everybody has the same learning experience for the first 11, 12 years. They are able to settle disputes without resorting to violence.
Ignorance, I mean, the simplest thing, they will probably blow out and take it out of proportion and act aggressive towards, while other persons...
Cohesive society. The thousands of unemployed. For me, there are two main objectives about an education and training system. And if it is effective, you'll see it in a productive labor force. Jamaica has one of the least productive labor forces in the Caribbean, much more in the world today. Out of a labor force of some 1.3, 1.4 million, over 900,000 have no training at all. Among the thousands of unemployed, many of them have been to secondary school for 4 years or more, and they don't have one piece of certification. The second objective about an education and training system, and if it is good, it does what I would say, build a more socially cohesive society. Everybody has the same learning experience for the first 11, 12 years. They are able to settle disputes without resorting to violence.
Ignorance, I mean, the simplest thing, they will probably blow out and take it out of proportion and act aggressive towards, while other persons with a more intellectual level will probably reason it out. As how we learn in the primary system, talk it out, don't fight it out, the conflict system.
Don't just fight for no reason sometimes. Legal this thing escalate and get out in a big fight.
If you are educated, then you will know what to say, what to do, and take a stand. It's not because a politician put a money in your pocket, I put something in your pocket, you can say, yo, I turn a blind eye to certain things. You need to be more educated in doing stuff and some of the things that you're saying.
For the first time in 1953, elected Jamaicans became ministers of government. They started to have a bigger say. Up to that time, only 1% was enrolled in the high schools in the country. And so, the decade before independence, Jamaica was well on its way to establishing a first-rate education and training system. On the technical side, the College of Arts, Science and Technology was established. And the technical schools, Kingston Technical, Homewood Technical, Dental Technical, and then St. Elizabeth Technical, were all given a modern science curriculum, and graduates would feed into the College of Science, Arts and Technology. The effect was there. Within 3 years, Jamaicans were now staff in the bauxite industry. The Jamaican economy grew faster in the decade between 1953 and 1963 than the economy of any developing country in the world. And the prestige of Jamaica was such that in 1966, Jamaica was selected by the World Bank for a very special loan for education purposes. The amount of money is 9.5 million. But place that in context. For the 10 years, or for the period, more than 10 years, between 1953 and 1966, only 4.5 million was spent on secondary education. And you're now getting a loan of 9.5. And what this means is that in one shot, between 3 years. It should have been a 3-year program, 1966 to 1969. You would almost have doubled your capacity for secondary education. The way how we spent it gave education and training a setback from which it has never recovered. The government of the day called in Dr. Arthur Burt. He made one very, very important change to the method of hiring contractors. And that was, whereas before, there was an established panel of contractors, certified, who members of parliament could recommend from, but a panel at the Ministry of Education would have the final say in choosing. That was changed to allow each member of parliament to recommend the contractors who would build the schools in their constituencies. The program lasted not 3 years, but 6. And more importantly, the overrun on the primary school building program was 125%. And the overrun on the secondary school program, 100%. Which means for the money spent, the Jamaican taxpayer should have had twice as many schools. A new administration took government in 1972. And looking at the school building program and what had gone on, there was a big hue and cry for an investigation. In response to that hue and cry, a commission of inquiry was set up under which came to be known as the Da Costa Commission. Now, the findings of the Da Costa Commission should be read by every Jamaican. And the objective is not so much to remind the population of where guilt or blame is, but to try to make sure that this process is never, and these mistakes are never, ever repeated. Today, Jamaica has a debt of some $1.7 trillion. This debt has been accumulated from the time of the loan for education in 1966. If those monies had all been spent in a way to get value for money, not only would Jamaica be a fully developed country by now, but Jamaica would be able to export capital and assist other countries to develop as well. But we are now faced with this debt of 1.7 trillion, which should have carried us well on the way to economic development by providing useful infrastructure or facilities such as schools and clinics, to provide us with first-rate education and health services. And to the extent that those monies were spent without the Jamaican taxpayer getting value for money, you now have the money to pay back, but with a labor force that is far less able to produce the goods and services competitively to pay that money. And for this purpose, more so than anything else, I would recommend that every Jamaican read the report of the Da Costa Commission just to see how we wasted what I regard as the most important opportunity in the history of independent Jamaica to accelerate the process to provide a first-rate education and training system.
I left my big job in a corporation to run for MP in the last general election, but the people rejected me, yammed me out and heckled me, and marked them X to the other MP. But my beloved party, they rest kidding me with a big government consultancy. I'm a consultant, a big government consultant. I have a contract, a big government contract. US dollars is what I get. Strictly cash, no bunks check.
The consequences related to the corruption in the World Bank loan were that half the schools were built that could have been constructed. Not enough schools were there for the expanding student population, which led to severe overcrowding of classrooms, bad student performance, poor learning outcomes, and low productivity.
But there is hope. Since the end of the 1960s, our people have learned that the political award of contracts on partisan bases and not on competence is hurting Jamaica and holding back our development. Our authorities have set up an Office of the Contractor General and other anti-corruption institutions, which need to be strengthened, but which are a step forward. This is why National Integrity Action is supporting the establishment of a single anti-corruption agency, which brings together the anti-corruption bodies and gives them prosecutorial powers. But NIA alone cannot do it. What can you do? You need to give us your support in the call for a single anti-corruption commission, and each and every one of us needs to be watchdogs to ensure that money borrowed or money gotten from our taxes gives us value for money and does not end up in the pockets of partisan contractors and ultimately back into the pockets of politicians to fight elections.
What this animation shows is the development of two countries, and we've picked Jamaica and Singapore. And you can see in the background there, the year is running like a clock. Singapore is picked out in red and Jamaica is picked out in yellow. And you can see the two economies developing almost in parallel throughout the 1930s, the 40s, the 50s, into the 60s, and there we get to the crucial year, early 1970s, and you can see what happens. Jamaica's development effectively stops, while Singapore continues on a high growth path.
So I will argue that the data put forward by Transparency International speaks primarily to what happened in the formal space, because that is the place you can monitor the most. Nobody tries to study informal space because it's too dynamic and it'll be too expensive. So most of this information coming out is really about what we know as a regular business people. It's not even so much you downtown, you sit on the road doing them thing. You don't have the time for actually doing the research with those people, it costs too much.
So if you take our more moderate estimate of 7.5% and say, well, if we aggregate that cost over the last 40 years, what does that add up to? And it's well over 18 billion US dollars that we forfeited. Now what that means is that we're currently one of the most heavily indebted countries in the world. Something like 90% of our current public debt is the equivalent of what crime and corruption has cost us these last 40 years.
In 2011-2012, almost 1/4 of Jamaica's people lived in squatter settlements. In settlements, illegally occupying either government or private land. This resulted from over 100 years of Jamaicans moving from country to town in search of a better opportunity, but without adequate settlement and infrastructure programs. In 1994, the government of the day sought to deal with this problem with Operation Pride. Hundreds of millions of dollars of Jamaican taxpayers' money was invested in this program to regularize the squatting problem. Operation Pride did not achieve its objective to the fullest extent. Why? Numerous irregularities identified by the Auditor General, the Contractor General, as well as a special task force. Irregularities centered around political interference in the award of beneficiaries, in the payment of contracts, which ensured that hundreds of millions of dollars were lost without us Jamaican people getting value for money and sorting out the squatter problem.
And that is why, from the very start, I built a fundamental element in Operation Pride that would make sure we no longer were distributing houses or land based on political affiliation.
Talking about housing in Jamaica and how difficult it is to get a house. I tell you straight up, it's hard. I'm not even put it for say. It's difficult, it's tough.
I came home from my studies in 1994, May of 1994. Heard about this grand announcement by the government of Jamaica to deal with a comprehensive land policy that would alleviate squatters.
People don't want to live in the country. People want to live in the town. And take for instance, like say Mona Common. People don't want to move from there because of some ties. They have a lot of ties there, so they don't want to move.
Well, my parents, I don't think they had a choice back in the day based on their background. So they founded this land and was living on it. It is what it is, a squatter community, because we just found the land and lived on it. So it's not that, oh, we're just squatters. I don't think people even look at it. If you go around and you ask people, you're a squatter, they won't be able to tell you what it is. They just know that they're living, right? So if we could get, or if there is anything in place for us to build up the infrastructure, I don't think it would be known as a squatter's land.
I'm not sure if you really want to talk to me about Operation Pride, because I was a beneficiary as a young professional, and I watched firsthand something that started off as a good idea turning into a corrupt project.
We usually go down by the gully that is in the riverbed, and pack stones. And the money that we should get from that, it go towards the same. What is phone name again? What the thing name again? What I deal with?
I don't remember.
Pride. This Operation Pride thing.
Yes,
right? So over the years now, it's like the whole of us as citizens here, most of us had tally books, and we used to show because we expected to, come out of this doldrum we was living in, because of the plans where them come up with us, to us with,
It was something that was supposed to provide a housing solution. In fact, the model was that beneficiaries were also to be part of the equity, the sweat equity. So whomever had skills, you would put your skills to play in creating the communities.
There was this group, and we started throwing money with the intention that we would get a house somewhere. At least I supposed to still have my book with 11,000 in there. I don't know where that money gone. They don't give out the land. They just have the paper. The paper is to show that we are part of it. We paid our money, and you are one of the beneficiary whenever the program get underway and houses are built or whatever it is.
They came in and said we could join this thing and throw money in a tally book. So it's like we go and throw it by the NCB Bank, which used to open in front of the Shell station there in Ligani.
The project was estimated at around $7 billion, and it should have ran from 1994 to 2007. In 2012, I have heard people saying, I still haven't gotten title. I have paid for the lot that was given to me under Operation Pride, and I still don't know what is happening. I see so many of the Operation Pride sites where the infrastructure work is incomplete. A crying shame.
All right, for Operation Pride, I see a lot of people get help. Seriously. but it's like friend of friends. Why I use friends of friends? I use it like this. If you're in a certain community that generates a lot of vote, then that community will get a little help. When we use a little help, like say Rockford community, Pleasant Heights, and them places, because of the strong ties within the political, not here if JLP or PMP, they will say, all right, then we are push out things to help them people there, to have them own house. You understand me? And everybody Operation Pride help. It's not everybody Operation Pride help.
There was a lot of interference politically, because I witnessed firsthand in some cases procedural irregularities. If you're part of a project and you have the minister assisting, because when this is government driven and you're looking to who is at the helm of it for assistance, and then you realize sooner than later that even as you seek to build communities through these Operation Pride, you're building a nation. Part of what went wrong with Operation Pride, there were a lot of informal contracts. So what is the scope of the work to be done? Who knows? At what cost it is to be done? Who knows? As long as at the end of the day, some of the workers in my constituency or some of the people who support me politically are given the work.
Many things went wrong, and a lot of Jamaican money government money has gone down the drain. We actually have one case in court for overpayments, and there are several others that if the evidence could be put together, should go to court. The fact is that in many cases, the bundles seem to have gone into a deep dark hole.
There is this expectation that once government work is available, it's going to be time for the supporters of the political party to get work with no reference to their competence, and especially in buildings. Every man is a builder. What is the standard at which they're building? Who knows? Road work, everybody can do it. Talking about the infrastructure side now of a project like Operation Pride, where roads have to be put in, water pipes have to be laid, whatever, the full works. And so many people, I have seen people on sites who have no competence, really no competence, doing technical work.
People are moving out of the area largely because of crime and violence, but importantly, because of the lag time in terms of infrastructure, road, water and light.
Has enough been done? Of course not, because we're still suffering from a project that meant well but has gone wrong. And what is even worse for me is that we do not learn the lessons. And so you have other projects coming on and you see the same things being done. And the cost gets greater and greater. Corruption, development, or democracy, there is a link. If you are tasked with the responsibility of doing something, you must be held accountable for it. And if that accountability includes, at the end of the day, a prosecution, then by all means.
We don't even know where we stand right now. You see, call me fight me struggling and build up my little house here. My family help me, my children them help me. We don't know where we stand.
One, the serious problem is the land title. Because once we get the land title, then persons will start to develop their infrastructure. And once the infrastructure is in place, then, other bodies will come in to Mona Command, giving the persons, the citizens a sense of responsibility. So persons will have to go out and get a job and educate themselves, make sure so everything is happening properly. So the land title will be one, the education level on both schooling, teenage pregnancy, parenting, the roles of the government and the roles of we, the citizens.
The consequences of the corruption related to Operation Pride are the continuation and expansion of island-wide squatting, the facilitation of criminal enclaves, the frustration of inner-city residents, and the hundreds of millions of dollars lost that should have gone to solving the housing crisis.
Operation Pride lost Jamaican taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars and failed to impact the squatter settlement issue as much as it could have. This harkened back to the late 1960s with the World Bank education loan, where once again numerous irregularities, at the heart of which was political interference, impacted Jamaican taxpayers not getting value for money. This time, sanctions did apply. The minister resigned, the permanent secretary resigned, and 13 persons were indicted. But this is not enough. National Integrity Action calls for more severe penalties to be attached to violation of Jamaica's procurement guidelines so that we put an end, once and for all, to politically motivated corruption and the loss of value to Jamaican taxpayers.
You have to find a way to lock up people who are involved in corruption, both at the government end and at the private sector end. And the only way to do that is to give prosecutorial powers to an anti-corruption agency.
You can't go point on a leader, because you're going to say it's liable, you're going to get charged for libel. If you point on them and say, you used to give me a gun, you're going to say, you have any evidence of that? You can't prove it. So right away you go to prison. You see who go to prison are the victim of the prison.
Although the legal system is good and is righteous, takes so long to achieve an objective and to make a declaration in a case that may be brought. And I take, for example, an OLINT and a Cash Plus. Whereas in Jamaica, we have gone nowhere with Cash Plus and the people that were involved. In America, Madoff has gone to jail for X number of years, certainly in excess of 100. And David Smith has been found guilty and gone to jail.
Between 2010 and 2011, David Smith, a Jamaican national, the head of Neoliberal Corporation, a Ponzi scheme, was tried and convicted in the courts of Turks and Caicos as well as in South Florida. Court documents reveal that Smith benefited to the tune of at least US $220 million. His main victims were Jamaicans, thousands of us who put our well-earned income into this Ponzi scheme. In 2006, Jamaican professionals at the Financial Services Commission issued a cease and desist order to Smith. They were supported by the government, but opposed by politicians on both sides of the aisle. It turned out subsequently that Smith had given millions of US dollars to the Jamaica Labour Party and to the People's National Party. Could there be a relationship between those political donations and the fact that Smith was never prosecuted in Jamaica, despite the fact that Jamaicans were the main victims of his criminal activity? We do not know. But what we can say, and what National Integrity Action proposes, is that Jamaica needs robust campaign finance regulations laws that would ban organizations like OLINT from making contributions to our political process. In addition, such legislation should reveal to us those who are making big contributions to the politicians and the political parties. Why? Because you and I know, he who pays the piper calls the tune.
David Smith pleaded guilty to 18 counts of money laundering, 4 counts of wire fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering.
Did David Smith trade foreign exchange legitimately? Well, there has never been any finding of that. And not from the perspective of the FSC. We saw no evidence of that. Sometime in late 2005, information came to the FSC about an entity carrying on this type of business. When we looked at what we had, this was definitely securities business, and under the law, the Securities Act, you need to be registered and the entity has to be licensed to be carrying on these activities. The FSC conducted a proper investigation which started in January of 2006. It was completed early March 2006, so within 3 months, the investigation was completed. In order to get additional information and utilizing the powers vested in the FSC under the FSC Act, we did a search and seizure operation on several locations. And from that, we seized records. In March 2006 also, as soon as we issued the cease and desist order, simultaneously with that, we sent the files to the DPP's office for them to do their review with the hope that they would find it possible for prosecution to be brought against Mr. Smith and others. A part of what we asked for was no further funds flowing into these schemes, and they were able to pay out. Now, that's universally what is done. A goodly judge that heard that matter decided that Olin could continue to accept funds from current investors above the strenuous objection of the FSC, because we knew that this is a way for funds to continue to flow in and to widen the base, the investor base, but we were unsuccessful. In terms of how Olint grew to be what it grew into, that has to be explained by the proliferation of the feeder funds. What is a feeder fund? A feeder fund is a sidekick to the main Ponzi scheme. It is the process by which you have sort of a smaller Ponzi scheme. It's a Ponzi within a Ponzi. In this case, the media was also biased because now in hindsight, many inside the media houses were also investors and they had an interest to protect. And the following that they had, these are not the people with millions of dollars from cherry gardens, etc. These are the people who are going to be pooling together every little penny or resigning from their jobs so that they could get access to their retirement fund to put into these schemes. That's how wide it went. Our vindication came from these other jurisdictions, some very mature jurisdictions, who were able to take the very same work that the FSC did. Because under our laws, and this is where I have to credit Jamaica, we talk about everything else and what is bad, but what is also good, just like we have the freedom of the press here, there are laws on the books that if utilized properly, can actually get good work done. And the FSC did that. We were able to use sections of the FSC Act to cooperate and collaborate with foreign jurisdictions in order to help them bring Mr. Smith to book.
The consequences relating to the Olin case were that billions of dollars were lost to Jamaica's GDP. There was the ruination of hundreds of professionals, proceeds of crime donated to political parties and politicians, and the worldwide reputation loss of the Jamaican justice system.
But all is not lost. After years of advocacy by Jamaicans from all walks of life and from organizations in the private sector and civil society, the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, following much consultation, produced a report recommending robust campaign finance reform, including the banning of Olin-type organizations making contributions to political parties, including limits on what parties can spend, including limits on how much may be donated to a political party, and very importantly, recommending disclosure of those who give big money to the political parties. Happily, the Parliament of Jamaica in March of 2012 adopted this report in a historic move, with concerns and with reservations. The government has indicated that they intend to have campaign finance reform on the law books by March 2013. But you and I know how much delay there can be in the legislative process. We therefore need to come together, National Integrity Action, and each and every one of you, to demand that this legislation be on the law books before March 2013. No more election must take place in Jamaica without campaign finance reform.
Because right now, it's the government, them boy, John, I don't know what. Because them tell her one thing and them still do the next thing. So come like everybody else a grab. From top, everybody a grab. So you find it's a little small man now, he have to try to grab a thing for himself, you know.
Our politicians are more interested in getting into or staying in parliament in power than delivering on the promises that Jamaicans need delivered on.
The guy who is them, which sound like we, a fight against them, JPS, which is the government where we put into place, which is Palwell, which is him. Inside with them. Against the people them, who the people them did not look on him and say, but look how them do to we. So if he say they have a friend up there, like you know what a friend we have in Jesus, it come like we don't have no friend up there, so because them become them and them side up now with them and then now we there, so now still I wonder how the light bill will go.
On September 1, 2011, Christopher Dudos Coke pleaded guilty to conspiracy racketeering charges in a Manhattan court in the United States. In June the following year, he was sentenced to 23 years in prison. Court documents reveal that Coke was involved in gun running, narco-trafficking, and in murder. A long line of politically connected criminals like Zeke Phipps and Donovan Bulby Bennett, who were evident in the Jamaican political scene. For Coke to be extradited, a state of emergency had to be declared after Coke supporters attacked the security forces. Thereafter, the response of our security forces led to the deaths of over 70 persons in the community of Tivoli Gardens. Regrettable, but the Jamaican state and people had no alternative but to declare a state of emergency in response to an attack on the society. What this demonstrates more than anything else is the extent to which political criminality was embedded in our country, and the degree to which crime and corruption are among the most problematic factors preventing investment, national and international, from creating jobs, generating income, and growing our economy.
An entire nation brought to a standstill.
Politicians who used to give the youth them gun and when them can't control the youth them because a bigger man now, them have visa now, them can go and make deals with the people them over foreign and make them get them own gun and them own drugs, come back to Jamaica, control up certain money and things. Politicians can't control them, yet the politicians say, that man is a done man, we have to get rid of that man. You know, see it?
A Don is simply put a crime boss, a powerful criminal figure who typically heads a gang, or better still, an organized crime network. They have access to considerable resources and therefore enjoy a measure of status and standing in their communities, which allow them to establish relationships with critical institutions, including political parties. The powerful crime boss, the Don, is able at times to project an image of being legitimate. This, plus the power, distinguishes them from the ordinary petty criminal. Now, if I may say something about their relationship with the community, of course, this is closely related to their relationship with the party. They use the wealth and the political influence to embed themselves in the community. So a number of these Dons, Coke including, ran welfare projects within the community, from basic school, funding of basic schools within the community, computer training for young people who have left school and so forth. So if you saw in the events, final events leading to the operation in Tivoli Gardens, there were demonstrations, I believe some 800 women in white demonstrated in support of Coke, we will die for Coke and so forth. This is because of the benefits that the community derive from their presence, their protection, their welfare, and other benefits such as access to utilities, free utilities. The JAMAICA Score, for example, estimated that in June 2010, at the time of the operation in Tivoli Gardens, only 1% of the residents of Tivoli Gardens actually paid utility bills or paid light bills. Coke, like so many other powerful criminal dons, remained at liberty for a long time because of, in a word, their relationships, in two words, their relationships and the weakness of the criminal justice system. The relationship with the party provides them with access to opportunities for enrichment, accumulation of considerable wealth through contracts, typically construction contracts, and offering of services to government of various types. These contracts may run into tens of millions, in some cases, hundreds of millions. Secondly, its protection. The party affords them access to a wide range of contacts and relationships with lawyers, highly skilled lawyers who are willing to work and to represent them, access to a network of communities across the island, which helps to facilitate their business and indeed to spread crime throughout the island and abroad. So the wealth and the protection that they get from the party insulates them and affords them this degree of impunity, if you wish. The evidence that is available to us suggests that Coke's organization was well prepared. Right? This was a place that was highly equipped to deliver violence. As I recall it, the community was highly mobilized many weeks before the operation, with an elaborate system of lookouts and guards and so forth. One estimate that a professional brought to my attention was that perhaps maybe as many as 400 persons were involved in the defense of Coke, the defense of Tivoli, and I mean armed defense now. Mop-up operations following on Coke's arrest. As I recall it, almost 100 weapons were found, including 45 rifles, a number of explosive devices, grenades, 50 caliber shells, pretty sophisticated stuff. I believe that the Jamaican government eventually agreed to sign the extradition order because there was a confluence, if you wish, a convergence of pressures from two sources, one external, one internal. The external pressures were relentless and came from the US administration, which is very powerful. US is a very powerful country in the world. There was also considerable internal pressure. Internal pressure from the opposition political party, which is bad enough for any political administration, but equally importantly, pressure from civil society. There was a partnership which involved the PSOJ, represented employers, it involved the unions, and it involved other elements of civil society. And the partners at that point during the Dudus crisis, I believe, stopped attending the meetings and signaled to government that if you wanted this collaboration to continue, then you would have to sign the extradition order. Also, there were elements of civil society outside of the partnership that clearly expressed their opinions and demanded that the government sign the extradition request. And I believe that these pressures came from these organizations and from public opinion because people were well aware of the corrupt relationship between Cook and elements in the administration. So these two things combined, I believe, forced the administration to sign the request.
The consequences of corruption in the Dudus case were that the link between politics and organized crime was clearly revealed. There was a stranglehold of dons over community life, no freedom of speech or movement because of violent intimidation of citizens, resulting in a serious fall in Jamaica's international standing.
What the Coke extradition, conviction, and sentencing demonstrates more than anything else is no matter how strong the political connections, no matter the level and length of political corruption, the Jamaican people, the Jamaican authorities, in association with our development partners, can defeat political corruption and political crime. But for this to be done, national integrity action supports what Jamaica requires: robust laws and law enforcement to outlaw political intimidation in any community, to outlaw gangs and gangsterism, and to hold culpable those who are connected to the gangs and facilitating gangsterism. It requires community renewal to empower the people in inner city communities. But most of all, Jamaica requires each and every citizen to speak out, to have their voices heard. Were that not the case in the Coke extradition, the government would not have been forced to reverse its position, to extradite Coke, and to ensure that organized crime suffered this major defeat.
I think the government, they can create more open doors for people to be more innovative, because you have persons on the streets who are not fully occupied in what they do.
If the people who we are looking up to and who we have voted in to lead us do not do and are the right thing and are not accountable, why should anybody else be accountable?
So me as a Jamaican, I stay straight. Me I try to curve my thing, me I try to put it in my youth them, for curve it, and me I try my best. I know me alone can do it, but me still I do my part.
So we need some intelligence, and within intelligence we need a sort of philosophical idea that is continued and perpetuated in the media, because this is where the youth them latch on to know information.
Also, if they get something for the children them to do, it will help to cut down the crime in the country.
Now that you have heard from our experts and from the commentators how much corruption is costing Jamaica, how much it is holding us back from building on our immense achievements, where do we go from here? I can tell you where NIA is going. We are going to continue building awareness through films like this one, through town hall meetings where we hear from you. We're going to be continuing to insist on urgent passage of campaign finance reform legislation and the establishment of a single anti-corruption commission. But NIA alone cannot do it. We need the help of our international partners to ensure that the taxes which their taxpayers pay in order to help us here in Jamaica reach the target. But most of all, we need the help of each and every one of you. Get involved with NIA. Call our office to report whatever you see that looks corrupt. You be a watchdog, be a searchlight. Visit our website. Help us to make Jamaica the place of choice, to live, to work, to raise families and to do business, so that sooner more than later, we get the Jamaica that we are capable of achieving with the talent of our people.
But medias like this need to send out information properly. And don't edit out everything we say. Yeah, that's
The following are excerpts from messages to NIA published in NIA's first anniversary supplement from the Governor General, the Prime Minister, and the Leader of the Opposition of Jamaica.
I unequivocally support the urgent message of the NIA and every one of us to close ranks against corruption. We must win the battle against corruption so that Vision 2030 may become a reality and this beautiful land fulfill its destiny of playing her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. We have and will continue to support the aims of the NIA, and the nation can be assured that this government will continue to strengthen legislation on good governance, accountability, and transparency as part of a determined effort to detect, deter, and punish those caught and found guilty of corruption wherever such acts occur. I'd like to congratulate the NIA for your efforts to combat corruption. You have brought to the forefront the absolute need for honesty, decency, integrity, transparency, and accountability in all our proceedings and processes. You've done a great job in enhancing the public awareness of this challenge.
Oh, it's a dog-eat-dog world. Oh, what a la-la-la. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Them say dog yam you so fire. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Bodies laying in Dakota. In this dog-eat-dog world. No more war, no more crimes, no.
And we are back.
Sorry, can you share that video in the group, in the WhatsApp group, please?
Yes, I can. I will share it in the WhatsApp group. That it can be shared easily. And I can share it in the chat too. If you go on my channel, it's also there. Let's go to chat. I guess I could copy and then go to the chat right here. Number one, Control V, share. That's the video. All right, you guys can watch it. That was done some time ago. When was it done? 2013. And just some background, see where we are. It was done in 2013. That video was done in 2013. And there's some update to that, because by the way, we still have the NIA. The NIA is. Do you guys know about the National Integrity Agency? How many persons know about the National Integrity Agency?
I have heard about them.
Yes, sir.
You guys have heard about the National Integrity. That's good. Good. What have you heard about them?
When we tackle crime at the highest level, for instance, they ensure that there are no discrepancies in leadership. In many cases, we see the NIA would have called in, I think it was then Prime Minister who would have been in office when Mr. Koch would have been requested by the American government. You know, there was a session in which they were called in to be questioned. Whenever there is any, they really investigate the whole governmental body or the system that operates within the government. So they do that, and if they find any discrepancies, they are called into questioning, where they have to be held accountable for everything that is done. And if it's a criminal offense, in the sense that there are evidence showing that there is some level of compromise, some level of evidence of criminality rather, then in some cases they might be challenged to resign. I think that was the case with what was it? Bruce Golding? What's his name?
Bruce Golding resigned.
What was his name? Who was the prime minister at that time? Somebody help me. With the ex.
Yes, it was Bruce Golding. Yes, it was Bruce Golding.
Bruce Golding. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, great. Now let's go. Let me just type this in really quick for you guys. Is this the NIA? NIA Jamaica. And then let's type this in. I was just on this website earlier. This is the Jamaica's Integrity Building Anti-Corruption Organization. Do you believe in a world now and a better future? movement of oppressed and unhappy people, blah, 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 blah. Take action now, report it. So you report in, you can, if there is any, if you know of any corruption happening in Jamaica, you can report it to the NIA, and it shows their work, building public awareness surrounding issues of corruption and so on. Engaging youth in terms of education, working with professionals. They also have international work, that's the NIA, Dr. Trevor Monroe, engaging communities and they do research and publication. And so you guys can, so if you guys, that's one of the things that they do, you can report if on government agencies or individuals, businesses who if they are involved in any kind of corruption activities. There is the NIA started, I guess, in 2013, but I was looking at some stories about the NIA, but I won't do that right here. That's just basically, so you can go on their website and find out some more information about what they do. So that's the NIA. Now, I want to get into something real quickly as I bring this up. Now, I had asked you guys, what is the corruption perception index? Now, the corruption, so I went online. Let me see if I could bring this up here and show you what it is. If you want to find if you want to find out what Jamaica's corruption index is, you can go here.
Sir, hold on. So you say that after the film, you will make us vote against her, and then you show us the answer.
Oh, you guys want to change your answer? Ready to change? All right, fine.
No, not changing.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Hold on. Let me just see something here. So if you want to find about, you can go on this website right here. Very good. Transparency.org. Or I just type in CPI. I just type in CPI, the corruption index or corruption perception index, CPI, and then it brought me to this. And then you can type in Jamaica. Let's see Jamaica's corruption index. Type in Jamaica, and it brings you to some information about Jamaica. Where is it? Where is it? No, not right here. Work. Okay, here we go. Global corruption barometer. And then you can go on this. No, that's not what I want. CPI for the Americas. Jamaica, CPI. And then there we go. Corruption perception index, organized crime and instability in the Americas. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, you click on that. Brings you to right here. Anyways. I wanted it, so this showed the corruption perception in the world. And now let's see where Jamaica is. You see Denmark, you see, notice the European countries, Finland, New Zealand, Norway, Singapore, Germany. These countries, Australia, these are all the Scandinavian countries, you know. And most of those countries are monolithic with very few Black people in some of these countries, but the richest countries have the least corruption, it seems, the richest countries. And then as you go down, Chile, United Arab Emirates, the Caribbean, the first one you see on there is Grenada. Grenada is 52, not bad. Grenada is over the 50 mark. And I think that's the goal of the NIA. They're trying to bring us over the 50 mark. So 52, you see Grenada is way up there. You come down, you see China. So where's Jamaica? Jamaica, you see Ghana. Wait, Jamaica is not. I thought Jamaica was.
Oh, no, it is there, sir. Is that 44?
It's 44. Right, you see it? Jamaica, the CPI, not the ranking. Jamaica is not, okay, not the ranking. I think we are ranked 69. We are ranked 69, but in terms of our CPI, we're at 44. We're at 44. We were at 43 at once. And then just so you know, we were at 33, but we're at 44 now. But we're trying to, according to the NIA, they're trying to get it to above 50. Okay, but in a sense, we're stuck below 50, and we are still one of the most corrupt Caribbean nations. I think only Haiti, Guyana, and you can see them, only Haiti and Guyana are the countries that we beat out, Haiti and Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago. But if you look at these countries, you notice if you look at Barbados. Look at Barbados, guys. Barbados is 65. Wow. Sorry, I think this is. Oh wow, Barbados is looking good. It's looking good. It's looking good. Sorry, this. You know what? I think this is actually showing the. What is this showing here? Index, the perceived levels of corruption index countries. So look, Barbados is not bad at all on that. They are up on the list in terms of their ranking. They are not bad at all. They are over 50. They have a CPI. No. I said this is not right. Their ranking 65 means that 65 is their ranking. But they look good on the list right there. So this shows the transparency list. Very clean. You notice dirty is black, clean is yellow. So look where Barbados is, guys. When you look at the score right here, and you look at red is not good, yellow, orange is not bad at all. You want it to be round about there, about in the 50s, like where Croatia is.
So Barbados is leading the Caribbean.
Barbados and Bahamas, yes. They are leading the Caribbean in terms of
in the corruption.
Corruption, some of the cleanest. And Bahamas and Barbados, they're not doing bad economically either. So, okay, so that's where so this shows you in terms of, I'll give you a picture. There is another image I wanted to show you because I was doing some more research, and if I could find that, cannot find it, can I? You can, there's something else I want to show you guys in terms of, earlier I typed in, I wanted to show you, okay, there we go, countries. Okay, there we go. And then Jamaica. I want to show you guys something right here because it shows. Earlier, okay, here we go. Let's click on Jamaica. Actually, okay, the global corruption barometer, percentage of people who thought corruption increased in the previous month, 49%. The corruption perception index in Jamaica, we're ranked, we're at 69. We're at 69 out of 180 countries. 69 out of 180 countries. And our score is 44 out of 100. And since its inception in 1995, the corruption perception index, transparency, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I don't want to see that right now. What I want to see is, there was a map that I saw earlier that shows Jamaica's movement. Let me see, can I look at, is this the global barometer? I'm not seeing it. Hold on a second, guys. I'm trying to find a document earlier, which there's a document that I saw, which I want to share with you that shows, that traces Jamaica's corruption index. And I seem to have lost it. Report corruption. No, I do not want to report on corruption. What I want to see, I want to show you guys CPI for the Americas in the region, CPI 2020, right of information, blah, 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 blah. Hold on, I am going to find it. Latin America, Caribbean. Is this it? Let's see if this is what I want. People and corruption in the Caribbean. I can't believe I lost it. The corruption barometer. I'm trying to find the document here. 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. Let me go back. Let me bring this back up here. I don't know why I can't find this. The campaigns. Let's go back to countries. Let's go back to country data. couldn't find anything.
Sir, remember you had said that at 20 to 9 you wanted to talk to us about that the poll that not the poll, sorry. The what?
Yes. Oh.
Right,
Oh,
that you
yes,
want
yes,
us to do.
thank you.
So,
What time
sir,
is it?
that time has passed. It's now 8:45.
Okay. All right.
You said after 30 days we'll be sending that to the Prime Minister. So I think it's important for you to discuss that with us.
Yes. All right. I can't find that particular thing that I'm looking for. When I find it, United States, I'm going to share it with you because it traces. There we go. Let's see if I could find this. Here we go. Oh, look at this guy. Low system, blah, blah, blah. Look, are you seeing this screen? Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
You see Jamaica's ranking from 2012, and you see how it is moving. It was stagnant between 2012 to 2014. The NIA started in 2013, and they started enacting some policies, and then it started to improving. It went back down, then it started to improve. I don't know, in 2016, major policies. In 2017 was the best, I understand, in 2017, or whatever. I don't know what happened, but they said 2017 was one of our best years, but it's largely been stagnant since, okay? So not much change. So in terms of our corruption, but there's been marked improvement since 2014 or since 2016. Well, between 2014 and 2016, I don't know what happened. There was some kind of improvement, but since 2016 overall, there's been a major improvement. And since 27 numbers, it's remained the same. So there's been not much change. And you want to know why hasn't there been much change in our corruption index? I believe part of the Dr. Trevor Monroe of the NIA in a report, if you go to the NIA, he has a report and he says that part of the problem is that the opposition leader, the opposition of Jamaica, the opposition used to be part of oversight, providing oversight in Jamaica, but now the opposition does not provide oversight. And that has also helped to play a role. But, Jamaica, Delroy Chuck, who in 2019, I think it was Delroy Chuck, the government of Jamaica gave the NIA $1 billion. And part of their role was to provide oversight, supervise contracts and so on. But what did NIA do with the $1 billion? Did they improve their services? How many persons are aware and find it easier for them to access the NIA and so on and so forth? So I'm not sure about that. And that's something that we can discuss. It's almost 10 o'clock. We don't have much time left for this lecture. But so there we have it, guys. I don't know if you get it. What Jamaica score is 44 out of 100. It's pretty much been 44 over the last 10 years. And we are ranked 69 out of 180 countries. And there's been no change since 2021. Our corruption has largely been the same. There's been no change. So that's just for you guys to know. Now, let me stop share. There we go. And bring it back to you guys. And we are back. Now, I'm going to have to share my screen again, but there are some major important points coming out of that presentation, which they talked about Operation Pride, which is housing. They talked about OLINT, financial. They talked about procurement procedures in terms of the award of contracts by the government. And of course, they talk about education and how funds were spent and how that has held us back. Just so you know, I just tweeted something while I was watching the video. Jamaica just was approved some $987 million. The IMF just approved some millions of dollars to Jamaica. So the question is, what were the conditionalities? At what interest rate? Okay, and then now, what will Jamaicans do to ensure that our government spend that money? So those are some of the questions you will have to ask yourselves. But we're going to stop here. We don't have much time. There's much to be said. When next week we're going to watch one more film, and then that's it. We won't watch any more film. We're going to have this. We will spend some. I think we don't have much time left for this course, but we will spend some time to review some of those films. I am reading your submissions, persons who summarize the lectures and so on. Please remember to submit your summary of last week's lecture. If you haven't done so, I would love to see what you have said. Now, let us get into what happened last week and the lecture. Now, after last week, we decided to put together a petition that we will send to the Prime Minister of Jamaica. A petition, and I would like you guys to get involved, since you guys are aware of what's going on in Haiti or what we're trying to do. But I'm going to share, I've shared with you guys, I'm going to share my screen again. Let me share it and read for you briefly what we are trying to do. And I would like to know, I would like to get you guys involved in the initiative here. Let me see if I could get this, let's minimize, let's go back to this, bring this down. So here is the petition. We're doing a petition, and I've sent you guys, so you guys can share it with other people, or if you can share, let me know. We'll share it. But we want JTS to lead the charge. We hope to, what I want to do is that we're going to also, I will be spending some time talking with various media houses about this petition, but this is major. Now, the petition says to Prime Minister Andrew Holness and to Minister of Foreign Affairs, Kamina Johnson-Smith. Dear Right Honorable Andrew Holness and Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, we are writing to urge you and your government to take every possible measures to help our sisters and brothers in Haiti restore their democracy by removing international support for the current de facto authorities and allowing a legitimate Haitian-led solution to emerge. As you know, well, in the last decade of leadership by the party Haitian Tech Kahi Party, PHTK, and its allies, Haiti's democracy has been dismantled. Not a single elected office of the thousands required by the Constitution is filled. Gangs, some connected to the government, control over half of the country. Corruption and mismanagement have diverted vast sums from public services and generated inflation of over 15% annually for each of the past 3 years. 4.7 million of our Haitian brothers and sisters now face acute hunger. Haiti is one of the 10 countries suffering the most from hunger. It is the only country on the list that does not have a recognized armed conflict, and the only one outside Africa and the Middle East. Like all Jamaicans, we are deeply grieved by the suffering of our brothers and sisters in Haiti. When Haiti won its independence in 1804, it became the first free Black country, paving the way for independence for Jamaica and others. Haiti was the first country to abolish slavery, paving the way for our own emancipation. Haiti has been punished for its example of freedom for every 2 countries, for every 2 centuries, and is still being punished today. Haitians have fought foreign occupation, political interference, and economic manipulation. I'll continue to read. Where am I? Let's start again. Haiti has been punished for its example of freedom for over 2 centuries and is still being punished today. Haitians have fought foreign occupation, political interference, and economic manipulation by powerful members of the international community, most of whom originally attained their stature through slavery. The current international support for the de facto Haitian government, led by a prime minister who was installed by a Haitian process, but an announcement from the core group, led by the United States, is simply the latest effort to keep Haiti under control. Participating in international support for a corrupt, repressive, and unconstitutional government in Haiti would be a betrayal of our country's democratic standards and the democratic standards of CARICOM and the Organization of American States. Even worse, it would be a betrayal of our Haitian sisters and brothers who have already sacrificed far too much for our freedom. Haitians are coming together across party, class, and other lines that often frustrate collaboration to propose broad-based, popularly legitimate path to a transnational government that would replace the de facto authorities and conduct fair elections. They are confident that if the international community stopped propping the de facto regime up, civil society could force the regime to resign or make meaningful concessions towards fair elections. But the United States and others show no sign of reducing their support for the de facto authorities. So Haitians need Jamaica and CARICOM to help. Jamaica and other CARICOM countries may be small, but in the past, we have played large roles in restoring Haitian democracy. In 1994, Jamaica led the CARICOM component of UNMIH, a successful UN peacekeeping mission deployed to restore Haiti's elected government. In 2004, Jamaica gave shelter to elected President Jean-Bertrand Aristide after he was kidnapped from Haiti aboard a United States plane. Despite substantial pressure from the United States to abandon their principles, Jamaica and CARICOM stood by their principles by refusing to recognize the illegal government and admit it to CARICOM proceedings. This courageous stance, combined with Haitian resistance to the illegal regime, forced the internationally supported regime to hold elections and allow the restoration of democracy. Haitians are once again counting on you to stand up for their freedom, and we are imploring you to stand up for democracy in Haiti on behalf of all Jamaicans by 1, refusing to join in any initiative that has resulted or has the result of supporting Haiti's illegal de facto government. 2, proposing that CARICOM suspends Haiti from the organization's activities until fair elections are held. And 3, insisting that the OAS Working Group on Haiti, the Jamaica leads, propose the implementation of the procedures of the Inter-American Democratic Charter applicable to an unconstitutional alteration that seriously impairs the democratic order in a member state. We call on the Jamaican government to not acquiesce to the US and Canada to support the de facto Prime Minister Ariel Henry and the PHTK party and its political affiliates, so that a Haitian solution to the crisis can emerge. It can do so by announcing that it will support a broad-based, credible, and Haitian-led solution that does not require the agreement of the current regime on any particular actor, and adopting policies consistent with this approach. In making this call, we join the thousands and thousands of Haitians taken to the streets, journalists, security guards, doctors, factory workers, mothers and fathers, who simply want to exercise their right to chart their own course away from corruption and fear and towards peace and prosperity. It is laudable that the Jamaican government wants to help Haiti's democracy, and we welcome Jamaican support for a truly Haitian-led solution. However, the primary role for the Jamaican government is very simple. It must let the Haitian people take back their own government. The Jamaican government, and by extension CARICOM, should not support any particular party or sector, or demand that Haitians take a particular path toward democracy. A stable and just Haiti, which is in the interest of Haitians and the US government alike, requires that Haitians lead and own their own democratic process for a stronger Haiti. Jamaican citizens, and that under that Jamaicans can sign and share it, and then once you sign, I'll get it, because the document is, I'm the editor of the document, so it's housed one place, but I can share it, and as many people can comment and sign it, and once it's signed, I get it, and once it's finished, then we will submit it. I'm gonna also do a video of this presentation, reading just the letter, because this particular class is available on Zoom, to the world, in the cloud, they're via on YouTube and in podcasts, and on the faculty, JTS, and so on and so forth, can see the videos and so on. And many people may not get to it by the time it is here. So I'm going to do another presentation where I read this particular petition from beginning to end, and then and do it as a video and audio podcast, sharing the petition, that people know about it. And then once I share that, then directing people where they could sign. But this is where I would love for you guys to discuss it amongst yourselves. If you guys want to do a paper on it, do a paper on it, because at the end of this class, I'm telling you, I'm going to do some big things with this class when I'm done with your papers, our discussions, and what we have done. We want to do I want you guys to start your podcast or a YouTube channel or something. It's easy, it's free. And as I said to you, I hope my goal is before I end this course, is one of the classes is to do one on podcasting and blogging or independent media and journaling, how to express your thought using digital technology, how to leverage technology. Okay, that is the new thing now. You guys can rival Jamaica Gleaner and CNN, okay, and those people. You guys can do that, okay? The people, if you can, it's not those, you control the narrative, you can hide. Now you guys have the technology. You guys can bring awareness to what is going on. The issue of corruption as well. Let's go. And also the issue surrounding Haiti. You guys can bring awareness to it. And by doing what? By starting conversations around this, writing papers, blogging, essay, having conversations. I'm going to also send this as a letter to the Jamaica Gleaner. This particular petition will be sent to the Jamaican Gleaner, and probably by this weekend, and we will ask that it. I will ask it. Hopefully, I'm going to actually send it at the end of this class. I will send this. But what are your feelings? Do you think it's something that we can do? That's something that, as a class, Caribbean Thought class, we can lead this charge in getting the word out there, promoting, talk about what's going on in Haiti as much as if you don't know everything, you can point them to where they can get the information, the YouTube channel, our lectures, you can go to IGDH and so on. So there is information out there. And so what are your thoughts about this, guys? And are you guys gonna, hopefully you guys, I can get some support from you guys in this initiative, because this is part of, this will be really big for the class. This is big because we're going to make it, if we can help to bring awareness, this is big. This will be huge as a seminary, as student body who is actually doing something as academics, not just talking in class, but actually working behind the scenes to promote, to bring awareness, using the information and the knowledge that we are exposed to bring about change in the world. What do you guys think about this, guys?
So I think this is amazing, sir. I really do, because they really need assistance, and if we can, as Jamaican people can actually do this for them, then they can get that change or whatever, that they can actually a better country, a better a better change in their country. So I think this is a great thing, sir.
Thank you so much. And I already sent it to. Did anybody? Rashawn? I think I sent it to Rashawn. Blah 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 blah. Okay, good. I think I sent it to you guys. So, but let me just send it.
Sir, hold on, sir. How do we sign it? Do we have to download it before to sign it, or how do we sign it, sir?
Okay, when you get it, you sign the bottom of it. So, because I'm not a Jamaican, I can't sign it. So I signed one for the US.
Is it like what do you call it again? Oh Jesus.
This one is for the US, the President Biden. And then right, strong, and then we share it with people, and look, people just sign. This is my organization right here. You see my organization. if I could find my organization. Oh wow. Ooh, several organizations has signed it. There we go. You see the neoliberal right here? Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's my company right there, the Neoliberal Corporation. So we signed, there's one for individuals and there's one for organizations. But the one we did for Jamaica is basically not necessarily for individuals, but Jamaica Theological Seminary can do that. So this is how you just put your name underneath it like this, okay? Like how you just sign. Some of you may have signatures. You can, some people have way that they can sign it. If you have DocuSign, you can sign it with DocuSign, okay? Actually, that's what I should have done. I should have signed, but not many people have DocuSign and so I didn't want to do that. Once they get it, you can just put your name on it. Say, for example,
I think a Google Doc will be something that will be best. People can just sign it and then you will actually get it back, because then if it's a Google Doc, each person will sign it. You will not have to be checked, like, because the person is going to download it now, gonna have different papers being sent back to you. But if it's a Google Doc and everybody sign it, there'll just be one. There's all the signatures will all be on just that one paper alone.
Oh no! It's not going to be different documents. The document I'm sending to you, it's locked. So even if 1 million people get it, once you put your name on it, I mean, you can't edit it, but you can comment on it. Say, for example, you go to the bottom. Let me see if you can sign it now. If I just sent in the chat, tell me if you can open the document. Open the document.
I open it on my phone.
Okay, scroll to the bottom of it and then type your name and tell me if you see it. Let's see. I can see Renaldo McKenzie. Let's say I signed it. I guess I could include the date when I signed it, I guess. And that's it. And you could do it just like that. You understand? And then people, once I put my name on it, every document, anybody that has this document will have it. Okay? Once any changes or any additions you make to the document, you will get it. It says Mary Billing. Mary, you did something on the document just now? Mary?
Sir? Sir, take a look at it today.
Okay.
I take a look at it, but I did not sign.
All right, I just want to see what happened if you guys write on it, right, and see what happened. I just want to see. Just edit, add comment. Is it making you guys? Let me see if I could. Okay, let's see. Edit document. Just edit the post. Become suggestion. Okay, but let's see if you guys working on it right now. You guys signing the you can, yeah.
Just add our names to it.
Yes, are you seeing the screen right now? You see where my name is at the bottom?
Yes, sir.
Try and open up the document and add your name to it. I just want to see if it works. At the bottom of Jamaican citizens. This document is not being sent out yet. And if you need your name removed, we can remove it. But I'm just doing a test to see what it looks like if you sign your name. So the next step with this is, if you guys like it and it's something we could work with, if you have any corrections or anything that in a grammatical error or whatever that you think we need to fix, let me know. If I need to change any wording, let me know about this. But once we're done with this, then we're going to circulate it all over Jamaica, churches, schools, everybody, email. We're going to send it via emails. If you guys want to print it out and do your own thing in your churches and have people sign an actual document, that's fine. Do it and send it off to the Prime Minister by your church. Use the same language. I don't care. Use what I have here, and create your own signatures for your churches. And then what you could do is you can come back and say, hey, I got 100 people at my church to sign. We could scan it back in. We could scan it and attach it to the document. And when we're ready to send the document with with the signature page, we can do that. Okay. So we will do one where we send around to the seminary, the student. I would love the student council to be involved. If you guys are members of the student council, have a discussion. This is something for the student group, an initiative that the group can work on too. But we as a Caribbean Thought class, we're going to make this our project. Okay. And I'm going to write about this particular issue. I'm going to share it in the Gleaner. I'm going to send it to the Prime Minister of Jamaica, probably within a couple of weeks. I will send the hopefully we can get at least 10,000 signatures or more. If you can get 10,000 signatures or more, that'd be great. We will send it to them. Okay, so this is what we are doing, guys. Anybody have anybody have made any attempt to sign it yet? Sign the document? Anyone? Hello, guys, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to open up my Google account to open it, sir. To try and sign it. Okay.
Or if it's a problem, let me know. I could but let me know what you guys think. But this is where we are so far. This is the document, and what we want is for you guys to circulate it, share it, circulate it. You can print it out as well. I can actually make you guys have editing privileges. The students of this class, I'm going to update your privileges so you have editing privileges. So I will give you editing privileges.
Okay.
Okay, and you can share it with your let me see and you can share it with your church, with your communities. Let people know what's going on, and this is good. Next thing you know, some of you they might invite you to on TVJ to interview you guys about what's going on. What's this this Caribbean Thought at Jamaica Theological Seminary doing this petition? What's this? This is not going on in Jamaica. There's no petition that's being signed in Jamaica on behalf of Haiti. No one is doing it. We are doing it. We are taking the initiative to do that. We are doing it, okay? And so just to get prepared, just in case people might want to ask, once we take this to the next level, a lot of people might have questions about what we are doing. But this is it for class today, guys. Some of you might have more questions, but in terms of, so the homework you guys get to do was to do I want a group of students in your groups. I would love for you to write a summary of the cost of corruption. What are you thinking about as it relates to corruption? There is if I could find the lecture that I gave some time ago, I have next week we will begin with this. Excuse me. I said that 3 students, Tyrese, Sanchia, and Sasha, in a group submitted a brief essay on corruption in Jamaica by reviewing the film Cost of Corruption. And according to them, he said that we may blame Jamaica's stagnation on the neoliberal regime of the Washington Consensus, but Trevor Monroe agrees, but also places blame on the corrupt politicians and leaders. In fact, the Jamaican Gleaner reported a story on crooked politicians on UK radar. This was just 2021, reporting that the former UK ambassador to Jamaica had found widespread levels of corruption within Jamaica, within the government. Now, these budding and young academics who are developing their ideas and ability to comment and formulate opinions around current issues in the Caribbean, within its post-colonial past, begin their commentary with a bold statement from the film about corruption in Jamaica. Politicians are more interested in getting in and or staying in power than they are in delivering on the promises that Jamaica needs. The documentary Cost of Corruption is one that highlights corruption at its highest in Jamaican society. This film was used to portray barriers that are preventing Jamaica from reaching its potential of prosperity that in the late 50s to 63 was in close proximity to developing society, to developing its society. So you heard that, Jamaica was growing significantly. But part of the problem was not just the IMF. Part of the problem was not just the neoliberal regime. Part of the problem was Jamaica and how Jamaican leaders spend the money. But we have to hold our government accountable. We have to hold them accountable. And I say to you, you have to keep up the pressure. You have to hold them accountable if you want things to change. And you have that responsibility to do that. Let's work together to improve our Caribbean country, our brothers and our sisters in the Caribbean, and by extension, people in the world who are vulnerable. I pray that you guys will be empowered, that you guys will be bold to take on we are taking on heavy stuff in this class. I pray that you'll be bold and that you will have wisdom in terms of how you can respond to some of the challenges and how you can take on these challenges. And even now, as we get ready to depart, I pray, God, that you will continue to bless my students, strengthen them, empower them, grant them favor and the desires of their hearts. Keep them safe from danger. Remember their children and their loved ones, their families. Provide for them. Jamaica, Lord God, is a little but Talawa country. We've had to deal with so much, and people are still dealing with the issue of low income, Lord God, which affect our lives. And so I pray that you will bless my students and their loved ones, bless them financially, and empower each of us to empower our brothers and sisters. And when we see our sisters and brothers in need, may we reach out and help them. But help us not to be corrupt with power, being duplicitous, full of hypocrisy, making deals on the side, and hoarding these ill-gotten gains for ourselves. We come against that, O Lord. And when we see, and if we see a problem in society, help us to not be part of the problem, but to work to bring about change, and not to practice partisan politics, which is part of Jamaica's problem. So we tell you thanks right now, and we put this matter with Haiti in the petition. We pray that hundreds of thousands of people will sign the petition, not just only in the Caribbean, but in the world. And not just in Jamaica, but the world. And that my students will be bold enough and give them wisdom to lead this charge, oh Lord God. And that good sense, not nonsense, but good sense will prevail as it relates to Haiti. Bless this country, Jamaica and Haiti, and all of Caribbean, so that we come prosperity, so that we are full of prosperity and we are competitive. These and other mercies we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Sir, sorry, can you say my name on the petition?
Huh?
Can you check to see if you see my name on the petition? I try to sign.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, I will. That's great. I love that. And by the way, I'm working on some stuff, but I will talk with you soon about that.
Yes, sir.
I'm working on some, I want people to get involved in what I'm doing, and I'm going to be traveling to Jamaica soon, but we'll talk about that. I'm doing a number of projects in Jamaica, but we will talk about that eventually. But let me see what you did. I have too many things open on my. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that one, sir.
Oh, who just talked?
Chantel.
Boy, Chantel, man, yes. And then I was trying to talk to you earlier about this. I want you to help me with this. Okay?
Yes, sir.
I want you to help me with this, to get it out and to let people, to get people, and to find who, if we could. I need to talk with the faculty, Katie and McKenzie, my namesake, how we could get them involved in this as well. Because I'm telling you, if we get the Gleaner and Radio Jamaica and these other media houses involved, and probably may want us to maybe shed light on this, one of you guys have to be ready, because I'm here in the US. It is you who must lead this charge. Okay, it is you who will. Okay, and I'm going to make it so that people want to seek us out and have conversations with us about what's going on with this Caribbean thought class at the Jamaica Theological Seminary. What's going on at that school? We're doing an international effort. Okay, and this is all right, guys. Well, keep in touch this week. Continue using the initiatives to work on your papers. Send me individual work. And as you send me them, if it's great, of course, I will add it to your grades. I did not had any time this week to make any comments on your papers. I want to apologize about that, but I endeavor to do that this weekend. As I'm going to spend some time to look at the work that you have provided. And by the way, and I've been under a lot of pressure, they need the exam. So the exam will be uploaded this weekend.
What is the exam like about, sir?
You see all that we're doing about Haiti, about
So we're recording, sir. We're still recording. So
American politics and so on. But the exam is just worth 20%. If you're looking to pass the class by doing the exam, forget it. The exam is just 20%. Okay, you pass this class by coming to the class, getting involved, using your initiative. Yes, go ahead.
How would the exam be slated?
I'm gonna ask some short answer questions. Fill in the blanks and short answer. That's it. Short answer and fill in the blanks. And true and false. True and false, short answer, fill in the blank, and short essays. True and false, short answers, fill in the blanks. Okay, remember that. Short answers, true and false, fill in the blank. Some of the questions I'm already asking you. When I ask you a question, you know that's going to come up in the exam in a sense. So, okay, you might fill in the blank. What is Jamaica CPI? Okay, what does CPI stand for? What is Jamaica CPI in relation to other Caribbean islands? Okay. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. I'm looking for short 2-3 sentences. And if you guys follow the class and watch the videos and stuff, all the answers are there. I'm not going to make it difficult for you. I'm going to make it because my goal is to make you pass. My goal, and by pass, I mean make you. If you guys can't pass the class, it's because your professor has not taught well. Okay, and you guys are doing well. You guys are learning some of the concepts. This course is a skeptic course. It's about critical thinking. It's about developing one's understanding about what's going on in society in relation to the Jamaica and the Caribbean, and then learning what we can do about that. And guess what? We're already doing it by doing this petition, okay? And engaging with people that come on the show in a very that come in the class. This is great. That is great. Keep okay? Go ahead.
I have someone who joined your class every Friday. She just love it.
Wow. Well, oh my God. Welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you make the best of the information that you're getting. Please share it with others and stay tuned for not this class, but the class before the last class. We're going to give you it's going to be a special class. I'm going to share with you how to do podcasting. And each of you probably will have a podcast by when that class is done. It's a 3-hour class. You can do a 10-minute podcast. And okay, and by the way, the good thing about podcast, once you have access to a podcast production tool and everything, eventually once you do it and everything, guess what? You're going to find yourself, you're on everywhere. You're on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Okay, I want to show you guys how to do that. That's my gift to you guys. And then you can use that to turn into money. Okay, you can use that to turn into money. Okay, that's the way of the world. And that's how young people making money.
Oh, yes.
Technology. Okay, as I learn, I teach you guys. All right. So we're going to be talking back and forth in the WhatsApp group later this week. I will make this article available in the Gleaner, and I will start. I'm going to share it with the world, share it on the feed. I'm going to talk about it on the podcast, and on the video. We're going to do a video of it. We're going to make this big, okay? And we're going to keep this up. But thank you guys.
Just the thing there. Everyone who reads it, anyone can stand it, right, sir? Once they agree with what
Jamaican, yes, anyone, whether you are a JT student or not. In fact, we want your people at your church, people in your community.
Yeah, you need to take it.
And by the way, let me make you. I'm gonna make you guys. In fact, I need to change the setting so that. Okay, Chantel. I'm gonna make Chantel an editor. So Chantel is an editor now. Okay, so you guys. In fact, I'm gonna make. Well, I don't want to make too many editors.
Sir, Abdul is not in our class, no, sir. So I don't know.
He's not?
No,
I
sir.
didn't know that. Okay. Christine is in our class, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Christine, Alicia, is in our class as well. Janet, Anif.
Okay, make you on. Listen, make good use of this document.
I'll be taking this document all the way in St. Anne across.
Joel, yes, sir. He's a part of her. Right.
Yes. And if you have local people in your group,
Sir, Jason Campbell is not in our class.
Okay, so
Jason Lawrence is in our class.
all right, great, Jason Lawrence.
Cohen is not in our class. He's in our class, sir. And Mary Bennings, he's in our class. Mary Bennings and Nadia Nesbeth, Patricia Dixon.
Great, Nadia. All right, that's good. You guys can copy it.
So, sir,
huh?
On the document though, I'm thinking across, if you're taking it across from Kingston, you're going all the way down to St. Anne, you wanted to show that people across Jamaica, different parishes are signed into it?
Yes, you can share this, like now that I make you editors, you guys can share the document. But when you share it, please you limit them as editors. Only the people in our class can.
No,
commenters.
That's not what I'm saying, sir.
Yeah.
To show that people from across Jamaica, not only in St. Andrew, Kingston alone is signing, but people from St. Anne, Clarendon, for example, are signing the document. The name you want.
Okay.
Only name. Oh.
So you want us to edit the document and probably add like the parish or the constituency they're from.
Sir, I was thinking to show that it is across Jamaica.
So I was gonna say, each person who sign can put their parish that they're from. Beside
yeah. You know what? That's true, because when I did it from an American context. But I sent to you guys so we can edit it. Right now, only you guys and one or two people from JP. Go ahead.
I just sent you a request to access the document.
Who is that? Who is that?
Shireen Hamilton.
Shireen.
H-E.
Okay, now guess what? You guys, Chantel is an editor. So she can make you oops. What am I done? What's going on? She can make you an editor now. She can actually, okay, there we go, Sam. Shireen, so now you should have it now, Shireen.
Okay, sir.
All you guys can do, you just go into share, just go to see that screen, go to share. Once you document, go to share, and you can just type the person name, and then you can make them into and you click on the side, viewer, commenter, or whatever. Make them commenters. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, so what we could do, if you guys want to add that to the bottom of the document, you guys could do, say for example, you guys could add something. You could say Hellshire or whatever, I don't know. Hellshire, St. Catherine. Yeah, you guys can do that, you know?
Right. That's something like that I'm saying, because if you're going to send it across to the churches and persons from various churches are going to sign it, what about if you, for example, you have the Glasgow New Testament Church of God and you have 10 people from that area sign, and you have like GP Pastor College signed to it. So it would show the Prime Minister and persons across, that people across Jamaica are involved in this.
I see what you mean. Okay, great. So you guys are edited. You can do some work to put.
Sir, have you given all of the class editorial privileges?
Yeah, maybe I should have done that.
I know that you had said that you said you shouldn't have done that, or you have done that.
Well, I did do that. What you guys think?
I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I just wanted to know that you did, because you mentioned the fact that you want to share it in other universities. You didn't want to, and I wanted to see if I could get it populated to you and UTEX. I wanted to make sure.
Who said that? Oh my God, that would be great. Who said that?
This is Christine.
Yes, Christine. Yes, but they won't be editors, only we are editors.
No, they won't be editors. I just wanted to know that I did.
Yeah, man, we want them involved. UA, UTEC. But listen, this is our project at JPS and Caribbean Talk. Okay, this is kind of the major. There are projects that other universities are working on internationally. I'm here in the US, I rub shoulders with some of these people. Oh, I'm at UA, I'm doing this, I'm at UTech. I'm like, wow, what are we working on in Jamaica? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, what's your undergrad? What are you guys doing in Jamaica? I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Okay, sir.
This is our project. This is our project, okay? This is our project.
Before you go, for example, if I have several church groups on my phone, I just send the document to each group and persons from it sign and come back to it. That's what
Yes, I want you guys, that's the thinking. That's what I would love for you guys to do. Yes, get your churches involved, however way you want to do that. You could, as I said, this document, anybody can get access to this document. It's just that they just can't add to it. They can only sign
it just by signing.
Yeah. Right, only those who are editors, which is on these people who I give editing privileges to. Only those people can edit the document, can edit or do anything. You guys can share it with anyone and make them commenters so that they can add their names, sign their names at the bottom. Okay?
Great. Sir?
Yeah.
You have to save the document. You have to save it so that, because right now we're still commenters. You have to save it so that the changes are made.
Oh.
So don't know what I'm saying. That says save. No, all the way down to the bottom that says save. Come down, sir.
Down to the bottom, save.
It's nothing.
No, sir. Right up. Ready? The copy link. Down further, sir. Say that says save. No, sir. Cancel.
Oh, I know why I can't see it.
No, sir. Say there's a save on there. That's there, right? Yes. Good.
All right, guys.
Night. Have a blessed night.
Have a
good night, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, man.
You
and
thank you.
We'll talk some more. You guys are great. Have a great night. And those of us who are joining on delayed, just thank you for watching us here at the Caribbean, in our Caribbean Thought class at the Jamaica Theological Seminary. And of course, you can support us by going to jts.edu.jm or going to anchor.fm/the neoliberal/support, RenaldoCMcKenzie.com or the neoliberal.com. Serving the world today to solve tomorrow's challenge by making popular what was the monopoly. What good?